Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Players Take episode 227. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice. Montrell, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing better this week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty rough week, but yeah.
Understandable. Well, glad you're back. I feel like I had a fairly successful episode last week, but
yeah, I listened to it. It was pretty good.
Miss my podcast partner. Is there anything from the Nintendo Direct you want to talk about? I guess hold on. Let me do the rigmarole, then we'll do that. We're getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
All right. For those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, Montrell. So yeah, the Nintendo Direct last week. Was there anything that jumped out to you that you want to talk about?
To be honest with you, not in particular. I did like the Pikmin HD collection they released. And maybe the Pokemon expansion.
Bro, no love for Super Mario RPG Remake. Are you?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that shit. I'm not into it like that, so I apologize.
Bro, dude, I love that game. Okay, like you got to play it. Have you ever played that game?
No, I never played it.
Okay, you have got to play it. It's a fucking Final Fantasy game in Mario. Like that is literally what it is. Like basically, so. You got to play it, man. Like it has a really actually kind of pretty fun story. And it's a good game. It's a really good game. It's a great game, in fact. I would say it's probably better than all the Paper Marios, and that's saying a lot because I think the original Paper Mario is a fucking excellent game, and 1,000 Year Door is also really good as well. But I love Super Mario RPG, so you should play that when it comes out.
Yeah, I knew you would be hyped about that. I'm like, he probably loved this shit.
Oh my god, dude, that came out of nowhere, dude. I was not expecting that shit at all. I was so hyped.
Yeah, but I kind of I skipped around on the actual thing, but yeah, unfortunately, like I didn't stick around for the whole thing. So I did see the Super Mario RPG, and I tried to stick around to the end, but
Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Not a Mario. I mean, it reminds me of the old Mario, or not the old Mario, but the Super Mario for the Wii. I don't know if you remember that one.
Super Mario. Are you talking about the Paper Mario for the Wii?
No, it was the one that was like or was it Wii U? I think it was the Wii U. That's what it reminded me of.
Was it New Super Mario Bros? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yes, I'm thinking of. Yeah, New Super Mario Bros.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought of the Paper Mario game for the Wii, which was basically a 2D platformer that would sometimes become 3D. But it was a really wacky, zany game. And that's kind of what this reminds me of a little bit. Not to say that I'm like probably not going to play it, to be honest. I'm not a big Mario fan, like 2D Mario fan in particular. Mm-hmm. But if I were to play one, this is definitely in the realm of one I might play. So I don't know. I think it looks cool. I'm glad they're kind of doing it because it feels like kind of a reset for that 2D Mario style. You know, they've been doing a specific thing with those games for a long time now, and it just seems like they're kind of going off script a little bit with this one. So
yeah, they're kind of returning to their roots with the 2D Mario. It's been a while since we had an actual 2D platform in Mario, to be honest with you.
It was the Wii U. The Wii U.
The Wii U. Okay, yeah. So I think I mean, if you want to count Super Mario Maker, but I don't really count that.
No, I don't count that. And then they re-released the Wii U Super Mario games on Switch with extra content, additional content, but I wouldn't count that as a new release. So
yeah. So I mean, this was a good direct for like Mario fans all together, for like all types of Mario fans, in my opinion. Even if you're like Pikmin fans, I mean, it was a good direct for you as well. This wasn't my particular direct, but it was a really hype one. Like I said, for those particular people, and I wouldn't say it's a bad direct for me. I think it was I think it was a good direct, but it just wasn't tailored for my type of people who play Switch games.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so for like the dedicated hardcore audience of like Nintendo fans, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even though I am going to get Pikmin 1 and 2 HD.
I mean, dude, Pikmin 1 is awesome. So,
yeah, I played Pikmin 1 and 2. I didn't play Pikmin 3. That was on the Wii, right?
Wii U?
Wii U? Okay, I didn't play Pikmin 3. That's the only one I didn't play and beat. I beat 1 and 2 already.
Which that one hasn't been re-released, right? I don't think it. I think it's like a Xenoblade Chronicles X situation. You know, it was like on the Wii U and used the gamepad, so it's
I think those are just stuck. Yeah, I think those are just stuck now.
Yeah, but no, it was a good direct overall. I thought it was solid. I mean, it's not the best they've done, but you know, there was some good stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Star Ocean 2 remake. That one was another one for me that was like, oh fuck.
Oh yeah, that one looked really good. I might actually get that.
Yeah.
And it's using that 2D or what do they call it, 2.5D HD or
2D HD or whatever. Square Enix thinks they've made up a art style. Yeah.
Yeah, that one actually looks really good too. I'm actually gonna play that too.
Yeah.
I'm probably just gonna dive into fucking Triangle Strategy myself. I'll just get that shit. And Octopath Traveler, because I caught those on sale, so I think I'm gonna just play those.
Okay, well, you sent me this. I think CD Projekt this week tried to do some PR spinning with fucking Cyberpunk. They said that it became what was the quote? It became cool to hate on the game or something like that.
Well, they came out with several quotes. First they said the launch wasn't bad, and then they said, first they said that it became cool to hate on Cyberpunk, and then they said Cyberpunk did not have a bad launch. And it was just triggering. I ignored it for the most part. I sent it to you, and then I went dark on it because I was like,
they gotta shut the fuck up, dude. like CD Projekt was climbing back out, right? They were climbing out of the hole they dug with Cyberpunk, I feel like, and I'm sure this isn't gonna damage that too much in the public sphere, but
it's not
for people like me and you though, dude, fuck off, fuck you, man, that's fucking bullshit, don't fucking do that, don't try to pretend that shit that happened didn't happen, come on, bro, that's I don't know, that's some bad PR in my opinion, don't try to spin shit like that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I didn't like that at all. I feel like so first, one of the articles was like an opinion piece, and then there was another article that came out that actually interviewed like CD Projekt Red, and then they said that as well. So both of them were I think we're just gaslighting people because I mean, say what you want about it now, right? I'm not going to talk about Cyberpunk now, but I don't think anyone can deny how bad the launch was.
Right.
At the beginning, and I mean there can be an argument versus console versus PC. The PC launch was smoother, but I played on PC and there were still a lot of issues. I still had people T-posing and random cops showing up behind me and shit like that. So I didn't really like it too much. But I know on console it was just terrible. Unless you had a PS5, you're one of the rare people, because you have to think too. Back in 2020, it was really hard to get a PS5. It was really hard to get an Xbox Series X. So if you were one of the few people that had those consoles, and then played it, you were okay. But it was still a lot of issues because the PS5 versions or the next gen versions weren't released on those games yet, or those consoles yet. So I don't know. I think it's really weird. I think they should just yes, they quote unquote fixed the game, but then they just dropped the patch with a ton of fucking fixes. So I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been playing the game. I did want to replay the game because DJ's been telling me to replay it. So I did want to give it a second chance, but I'm gonna wait till September, I think, or October, right? September or October, one of those. To when the rehaul comes out. because they're rehauling everything, they're revamping everything, and I want to see what they're revamping. Because the way people are making it talking, it seem like it's a whole totally different game. Not a totally different game, but like the game that we thought it was supposed to be. Um, and I'm not really listening to like, all the YouTubers and everybody like, oh, they flew me out to play the game. I'm like, I'm not falling for this shit again. I'm going to actually wait for the game to come out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually excited for it, to be honest with you. I think they learned their lesson. But what I don't think
did.
Yeah, exactly. But what I don't like about this, and I'm all for like redemption arcs and everything like that, and companies getting their redemption arcs and the underdog and everything of that nature. I don't know how to respond to not the developers but the players. How I don't know how I should respond to them and like the game journalism behind it and everything of that nature. I don't think they learned their lesson. I don't think the players learned their lesson. I don't think anybody learned their lesson except for CD Projekt Red, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, but even they didn't, right? Like they were. Remember how humble they were when the game came out, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna fix it. Oh, blah blah blah. We're gonna regain your trust." And then here we are, 3 years later, and they're like, "Oh, there was never a problem in the first place. Oh, it was blown out of proportion. Fucking, it became cool to hate it. Like, fuck that, dude. Fuck that shit. It's garbage."
Yeah, I don't know. The article is really gaslighty, and I think the reason they're saying that is because the fans kind of enabled it. Like there is a subsect of like people of like cultists, if you if you want to call them, who just fucking defend this game like it's no tomorrow. And you know what? I understand, I guess. If you really like the game, you just want to see it succeed or whatever. So I'm not going to hate them on that. It's just I think they gave too much ammo to CD Projekt Red for the way it was released, and I just don't know how to approach this game, to be honest with you. I don't know how to approach these articles that I'm seeing. It's like I'm ignoring the articles because I really want to play Cyberpunk, the new the expansion and everything of that nature. I really want to play it. Dogtown looks crazy. It looks really cool. Idris Elba character looks really cool. And yeah, I don't know. I want to give the game a second chance. So I don't know. And then to be honest with you, Cyberpunk was saved by, fucking Trigger Studio. So like give them props for the anime they made, because I don't think this game would be anywhere as like popular if it wasn't because of the anime, so yeah.
Totally. But don't whatever they say, we're not gonna forget. Cyberpunk happened. It was fucking bad. So
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Let's not let the CEO try to pretend otherwise. Gaslight us into pretending otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. And the fucking journalist.
Yeah. No. All right. Let's move on, Montrell, to what we've been playing. Do you want to go first this week, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
So when I was flying out and I was on a trip, I did have my 3DS because I have a little story. So I broke my old 3DS, which I think I told everybody like months or a year ago, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went on Meraki and I bought a new 3DS, or a replacement 3DS, and I tried to transfer my information.
Where did you buy it from?
I said Meraki, didn't I?
Yes.
What is it called? Mercari? Mercari. Yeah, I said Meraki.
Oh, that's hard. We both work in IT, so that's a specific brand of Cisco networking gear. It was hilarious.
Yeah, so I went on there, whatever the fuck it's called, I forgot already. Just that quick.
Yeah,
Mercari. So I went to Mercari and I bought a 3DS, and it was in perfect condition. I tried to transfer my stuff over, but I forgot. Oh, it was like, hey, this is an N3DS or the new 3DS, and you have an old 3DS. And I was like, fuck, are you fucking kidding me? So I actually tried to go on Macari again, and I bought another new 3DS, and
Oh
that one had
man.
like a dark spot in the screen too. So I was just like, "Fuck it, you know what? I'm just gonna keep the original 3DS I bought." I don't really have any in 3DS games. I think there are only a couple that came out,
That
which is
shit was the worst, dude. It was like Xenoblade Chronicles and I don't know, like it's like one other game
I
I want to
think
say.
I think Majora's Mask.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I can't download my games from my N3DS to my old 3 or the my new but old 3DS. But I can't enjoy my other games. So one game I was playing, just I said all that just to say I was playing Metroid: Samus Returns, um, which was made by the same people who made Metroid Dread. And I never finished this game, but I loved it when I did play it, and I'm like close to the end now. I'm like maybe on the last boss or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game is really good. I can definitely tell like the studio when they made it. I mean, I already said it with Metroid Dread that they know Metroid, they know Summons, they know the whole thing. They get the Metroidvania theme, but this was like their first game,
Mhm.
and all the stuff that was in that game is like improved in Metroid Dread, but it's still okay. It's still really good in this game. Like I don't know, since I've been removed from Metroid Dread for about a year now, or a year and a half almost. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know, this game's really fucking good. It's a really fucking good 3D Metroidvania game. And I hope Nintendo continues to give them 2D the 2D Metroid games because it's really fucking good. It's a 3D game, but you know it's 2.5D. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. They captured everything correctly and like the atmosphere and everything like that. It still kind of has that tense atmosphere, but I don't know. It's just really cool. I just love Metroid games because they're just like a sci-fi, you know, not like a sci-fi thriller almost, suspenseful thriller. Because it's not necessarily scary, but it is very suspenseful. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I just love Metroid for that. They do a lot of environmental storytelling in the game
Yeah.
too, like they do in all Metroid games. So I don't know. It's a really good game. I do recommend if you still have your 3DS, you can probably find the game on fucking like Amazon for like $20 or something like that. It's a really good game. I do
Mhm.
recommend it for people who are still fans of Metroid. Um, and then I've been playing Final Fantasy 16. I'm not going to really get into any spoilers or anything like that. But I did want to talk about this game, um, the negatives and the positives. So I'll start with the negatives first. Anyone who is going into this game thinking it's going to be a turn-based game or anything related to an RPG, it's not. It's not an RPG at all. They have light RPG elements, and I'm being very, very like air quotey on that. Like light RPG elements. You gain levels and you have stats, but they really kind of don't matter. Um, in my opinion, you have
Mhm.
equipment that you can put on, and they give you stat boosts, but they kind of really don't matter except for like cooldowns on your attacks and everything like that. This game is through and through an action game. It's Final Fantasy Devil May Cry.
Interesting.
Um, so if you're not looking for that, I wouldn't pick this game up, or I will wait for it to go on sale, which is probably going to be a while, because it is not. Uh, it's Final Fantasy 15, but perfected, in my opinion. You don't control any party members. Only party member you do kind of control is your dog, Torgal.
Mhm.
If you play the demo, um, uh, uh the summons that you do get, they do add powers to you, and you can hold like three of them at a time and everything of that nature. And you can go, I call it double trigger. You can go into your like, they call it like half summoning, where like, you know, you go into like a double trigger in a super mode or whatever. uh but they say like limit gauge and you limit break or whatever. um and you can do special moves and everything of that nature. So for me, this this game is really good because I feel like even if you're not good at Devil May Cry or anything like that, this game made it simple to where you can pick it up, play it, and enjoy it. It's easy to pick up and easy to play. But it's actually not difficult to master. But once you do master it, there are some complex things you can do with the game that other people may not want to dive into, but like people like me who love character action games, they want to do that. That being said, the game is like 45 hours, 45 to 50 hours. I think I'm only about 12 hours in right now. I'm enjoying the story a lot. It is very Game of Thronesy. You can tell that that Yoshi P and his team was inspired by Game of Thrones in this. Um, Even though there isn't like diversity in the theme, they do have a lot of themes pointing towards the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly with the bearers and or they call them branded, which are essentially slaves, and how they're treated and everything of that nature. Um, there are side quests in this game. The side quest, if you are familiar with Final Fantasy 14, then you are going to be at home in this game. Everything from how the dialogue and everything, in my opinion, is like Final Fantasy 14. Um, it's just so Final Fantasy 14. It's hilarious. I appreciate it because I played and love Final Fantasy 14. But if
Mm-hmm.
you haven't played those games, you would think like this is like really weird and jarring. Um, there are fetch quests, but in my opinion, the quests are meant to give more. And this is not like a cop out because they are fetch quests and they're like really poor fetch quests. And I'm not gonna deny that. Like you can skip them if you want to because they're not gonna really add anything to your equipment, in my opinion. Um,
Mm.
because even the crafting is pretty shallow. Like everything is like bare bones shallow as far as like RPG and everything of that nature. But the side quests add more depth to the story in the world. Like there was one particular side quest, like I said, I'm not going to get into spoilers, that showed how they treat the bearers. And it was one side quest that really got me. I was just like, holy shit, that's really fucked up. And I had to put the controller down. I was like, yo, that was really fucked up what happened. But it
Mm.
was like a simple side quest because it was like the Final Fantasy 14 side quest where it's like the NPC's like, meet me over here. Like, oh, and you get the quest accepted, and then you walk over, the NPC disappears, and
Oh
then you go
no.
into
Yeah.
yeah, and then you go over there, and then the NPC's there or whatever. And that's what some of the side quests are. They don't involve, sometimes they don't even involve combat. It's just that. Um, and like I said, I can see why people don't like it, and I can see why it has like this 83, or we can get to later, like way later. But I can see why it has the score that it has because a lot of people who haven't been following Final Fantasy and the trends of Final Fantasy, um, if you went straight from 15 to this one, or even like 13 to this one, and you didn't play 14, you didn't play 15, you didn't play 13, you went from straight from like fucking 10 to this one, this was going to be very jarring to you because you're going to be like, where's my turn-based combat, where's my my party members, and where's all this other stuff. You do have party members with you, but they're more akin to like um Kingdom Hearts characters for
Mm.
your your party. Like you don't really
Yeah.
do anything with your Kingdom Heart characters in your party for them. It's all
Yeah.
Sora. Um, so that's where I'm getting at with the game. Um, that being said, I don't think the hate is like warranted. If you just don't like these games, then just say you don't like these games. But the game is still in itself, story wise and like how presentation wise, very Final Fantasy, like bar none. This is a Final Fantasy game. I don't care what anyone else says. Like even though I didn't like 15, 15 was still a fucking Final Fantasy game. Like
Yeah.
it was a terrible Final Fantasy game, but it was still a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Um, and this one to me is like I said, a better 15. They just leaned all the way. Like to me, that even with this one, like 15 was like, okay, we're going to try to go like 75% action, and we're going to try to hold your hand. This one, that's another thing with the game too. This one doesn't hold your hand, but it does. They have items to make the game really easy.
Yeah.
I don't use those items at all. But even without those items, there's no option to start on a harder difficulty. So you just start on like the action based. That's what it's called. Action based or action based like gameplay or something like that. That's what give you two options: story and action. And then once you get New Game Plus, you get the option to unlock harder difficulties and everything of that nature. Um, so that may be a turn off for some because the game is for me super easy. It's just super fun though. Like I'm actually enjoying the story. This is like probably like one of the few action games that has a decent story next to like Near Automata.
Mm.
That the action is not motivating you to play the game. It's the story also in the world is motivating you to play the game as well. Usually games like Devil May Cry and I love those games and I actually do like the story in Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, but they're not the most deep and like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm super invested in it. Whereas like Near Automata, you do certain side quests. I would say that's a good comparison because Near Automata's side quests are way better than Final Fantasy 16's side quests. You do different events and different things and everything of that nature. Whereas with this one, you don't necessarily do none of that stuff. It's just like the same kind of fetch questy stuff or whatever. It's very, like
Okay.
I said, Final Fantasy 14 in that aspect. So I am very curious to see when you play it, how you
Yeah.
feel about it, because I think you're going to feel totally different. I actually don't think you may not like the game, but you did like Kingdom Hearts, but
Well,
I don't know.
I, yeah. So I actually, I decided against my better judgment to actually watch Skill Up's review because I feel like he's like him and Jason Schreier are like the center point for all the dislike of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I bought the game, so I have it. I'm planning on playing it. Hopefully this weekend a little bit, but based on the way Skill Up was describing the game and what you're saying, I am totally down for this game. It sounds like a really story heavy game that is an action game. And it sounds like exactly like Kingdom Hearts, that's what Kingdom Hearts is,
Yeah.
um it's a really story heavy game that has a fuck ton of cutscenes and has these little interspersed kind of action sequences in between, action sections in between. And as the games have gotten older, those sequences have gotten larger. But so that's kind of what this game sounds like to me. And I think a lot of the issue with what this game is comes from the fact that it has the Final Fantasy label
Mm,
as it's like an official Final
yes.
Fantasy game.
Yes. Yep.
I think if it didn't have that label, it was something else like Octopath Traveler esque. I really think that this game would be received differently from certain people, and I've been thinking about this a lot since I watched Skillup's review because he was pretty scathing in his evaluation of the game and his opinion of it. He pretty much put in the review that he wouldn't recommend this game to people, that he does not like it. Like it's not a good game to him. And I haven't played the game, so I can't speak to that part of it per se, but I was thinking about like why he feels this way, and and he harped in the review a lot about what he expects out of a Final Fantasy game, and it kind of brings me back to how me and you have felt about Breath of the Wild.
Hmm.
I think it's the same thing happening where
Yes.
Breath
Yes.
of the
That's actually
Wild
really this
is
is a
not a
really good
Zelda game.
comparison.
Is really
Yeah.
not a Zelda game, and in terms of what most Zelda fans would expect. And I think this Final Fantasy game is the same. It sounds very similar, where
Hmm.
it strips the party. You don't have a party, which that is completely atypical. There's been no Final Fantasy game ever where you don't have a party. Um, you know, even the MMO like Final Fantasy 14. I don't know about 11, but in 14, like you don't have a party with you at all times, but like in the cutscenes, you're running around with other characters that are basically your party.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and there are the further you get into 14, the more active they become in your gameplay because you can do a lot of activities with them in terms of like dungeons and duties and stuff, which is really cool in that game. But yeah, to go away from that and have basically no party is a huge departure from what Final Fantasy is, because that's a key component to almost any RPG, especially JRPGs, is the cast, right? Like that is
Hmm.
a big thing in all series that are JRPGs. So to take
Well,
that component away was risky. It doesn't turn me off though. Like that on its own is like, dude, if it's executed well, I'm fine with that totally. So
so you do have a party, right? But like I said, it's more so Kingdom Hearts style party.
it sounds like they're
Yeah.
in and out though. They're not always with you.
Yeah. So like from the first half, or at least for like the first part of the game, the first 15, 12 hours of the game, you do have like uh maybe one or two people that are with you.
Yeah.
One person like Torgo's always with you, almost majority of the time. Torgo's with you. But then like for instance, like I'm not spoiling anything, but like Sid, he may jump in and out. He's with you majority of the time, but there may be certain parts that he jump in and out or whatever.
Yeah.
Of the party or whatever. And I think that's fine coming from yeah, just coming from like my background as far as gaming and Final Fantasy, like I think that's okay. But like I said, I do understand, and that's why I did type in my tweet. Like I understand why people say this is not a Final Fantasy game, but it's just like I guess keep that same energy with like like you said, Zelda. Like this is not a Zelda game. Just keep that same energy with it.
Absolutely true. Which is I don't know like Skill Up fucking loves Breath of the Wild, right? So it's funny that he has this opinion here with Final Fantasy for the reason that it's basically not a Final Fantasy game, and yet with the Zelda game that isn't a Zelda game, he loved it. It's like, but it's subjective. Reviews are subjective. If that's not proof that reviews are subjective, then nothing will be. So
yeah, and it wasn't just him. It was like Jason Schreier, and Jason Schreier actually like spoiled some big shit. That was like revealed 9 or 10 hours into the game. Luckily, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
But I did go back to his tweets, and I was like, "Holy shit!" He just spoiled like an actual big plot. It wasn't a plot twist, but it is a plot point in the game that he spoiled. So I recommend don't going back and reading his tweets, y'all. Like, just play the game. But yeah, I didn't like his assessment of the game either, because it was just like, oh, this isn't Final Fantasy, and it's just weird because I'm like, another point that people were saying was like the linearity of the game or whatever. I don't know if that's a word. I think that's a word.
Yeah, sure.
The linearity of the game. I will be hard pressed to say almost no Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 10, maybe. And I'll probably go. I didn't play 9. I'll even say Final Fantasy 8. 8 did have some like open fields and stuff like that. So I'll say 10 and up. Besides the 2 MMOs, I mean, 13.2 was kind of like not open world, but it was like RPG-ish open world, like where you had open areas and you encountered random battles and stuff like that. You can go and do secret areas and find it if you explored. 13.2 did, but 13 didn't have. 13 was like quote unquote linear. 14
10 super linear.
Yeah, 10 is. We already discussed how linear fucking 10 is. Like it's
more
so
linear than 13 is.
It is. And then 15 was open world, but like, come on, like let's talk about that open world. That shit was ass. Like, if you want to be honest with you. Yeah. So, and then which is really crazy to me, right? 15 or 7 remake is more streamlined than the original 7. If you guys go back and play the original 7, it's not as streamlined as Final Fantasy 7 remake. Final Fantasy 7 remake reminds me of Crisis Core, the way it's operated and everything of that nature. And you had a lot of backtracking, and I think maybe that's what people want. They want backtracking, but like to me, Final Fantasy 7 remake was linear as fuck, like linear. There were barely any side quests in the game. You can do some side quests.
I mean, there's periods. There's tons of parts of Final Fantasy VII Remake where you cannot go back to areas. Yes. So
exactly,
that game is super linear. It's railroady, like in the way it's played. So
yeah, and that was like a lot of people's main complaint with this game. So with this game, there are areas that you have a map, a world map, and at certain points of the game where the game opens up, you can go visit these areas back. You can go back to the areas and visit and fight monsters in those areas or whatever if you want to do that. But the areas themselves are linear. There are like 2 or 3 open world or open area hubs that you can like explore, and like they're like really big and everything of that nature. But like I think the point I'm at right now, the game is giving me more side quests and giving me a reason to go to those. Like the first 10 hours of the game, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of streamlined and still trying to set you up. It's really not holding your hand, but it's really taking a lot of things lightly. I think the second part of the game where I'm at now is where things are going to start opening up, and that's like 10 or 11 hours to the game. So I don't know. I'm enjoying the fucking ride though. Like in my opinion, um, one can argue that like Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom is a Zelda game, right? Because now I haven't played it, but I've heard like you guys dungeons now has bigger puzzles and everything of that nature. And to
Mhm.
me, that's what makes a Zelda game, right? Um, I don't know about Breath of the Wild. I'm still out in the air on Breath of the Wild. But like Tears of the Kingdom sounds more in tune to what me and you like as a
Yeah,
Zelda game.
yeah.
So that being said, like Final Fantasy 16 still has like the Final Fantasy elements to it. Um, I would say with the combat, one thing I don't like is you have elements. Like I was fighting a firebomb, right? And I was using fire moves. He wasn't healing. He was still getting damaged off that. Like that's one thing that I don't like. I don't
Mm.
like that there's not like yeah, I need the combat to be a little bit more tougher. And I think when they do like the Royal Edition or whatever the fuck they do with this version of the game, that those things will be
Oh
implemented
no.
into the game. Yeah, like a definitive
Is,
edition
is
of
are the
version.
roles going to be reversed, Montrell? Are we going to be the ones defending Final Fantasy 16 and being like, "Oh, the Royal Edition's awesome"?
Yes, I think so. I was thinking about that. I think we're gonna be the minority of people, or not the minority, but like the group of people who love this game. And then there's
Yeah.
like this is a Final Fantasy. Because I watched Skillup's review of Final Fantasy 16, and and then I watched his review of Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Edition in 2018.
Oh, he did
And
review it.
yes, he did.
I was
And
thinking that the whole time. I didn't know he did. Oh
yeah,
shit.
um, but he was really light on the complaints of Final Fantasy 15. He did shit on the magic system. He did shit on the simplicity of the combat, which is like, you know, press one button to do one thing and, you know, all this other stuff like that. But almost a lot of other stuff he loved. He loved the party. Which I actually do like the party too. And when he was playing, um they just implemented a patch where you can play as other party members like during combat. So he
Yeah.
was liking that as well. But almost a lot of other stuff he loved about the game or whatever, the Royal edition of the game. I don't know if he played the original version. He played
Well,
the
see
Royal
that's
edition.
what I was gonna say. It's I think it's not a fair comparison because he was playing the game in its quote unquote like most complete state basically, and from what everyone's yelled at us about over the years, it's a much better game than it was at launch. So I don't know, it's kind of an apple oranges thing. I would be more interested to know if he had played the original Final Fantasy 15 like when it launched,
Mhm.
compare that to Final Fantasy 16 because
So I think
yeah.
Jason Schreier did play. He somebody asked him in the comments. I remember seeing it. He's like, "Did you review Final Fantasy 15?" He's like, he put a link to his review on it. So I didn't read it. I don't know if it was the Royal Edition or not, but I am gonna look after the show
I'm gonna
and
look right
see.
now.
But yeah, I think the way this game is released now, is definitely like for me an 8.5 or a 9. There are some things that need to be improved. It's not a 10, by
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
But there are definitely some things that need to be improved on the game. But I don't think it's like the story's not intact. I don't think it's anything like that. Like 15, how everything was like shattered everywhere. Like we had to go to the fucking the games and the movie to understand the back lore and everything.
Mhm.
Like you don't need that in this game. Uh I do like how if I'm in a cutscene and like they're showing one kingdom talk to another kingdom, I can pause the cutscene. There's a like an on-screen encyclopedia where I can
Yeah.
go and read up like of everybody in the cutscene, like their involvement in the kingdoms, and I can read up their backstory and their lore just in case I got lost or something like that. And I think that is just so fucking cool. Like I think that's one of the coolest things in the game. There's no way you cannot follow this game story, in my opinion. And it is fucking good. It's a fucking good story. It's not like Game of Thrones, like twists and turns, but it's like you can definitely tell there's a lot of. It reminds me of Heaven's Sword, uh, story. And if you guys played that in fucking Final Fantasy 14, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. It reminds me of that level of storytelling. It's very political, um, and there is an overarching like theme and enemy and everything. Not necessarily enemy, but there's an overarching thing happening to the world and everything of that nature. So I don't know. I think people who just enjoy it for the story will enjoy it. This game is very, and another thing is, this game is very like Japanese. And I understand now what Yoshi P was saying. We said he hate when people call games Japanese RPGs because the remarks on this game about it being a JRPG is very like derogatory in my opinion. Like they people feel like a JRPG has to be one thing or whatever, whereas like Western RPGs can be almost anything they want to be. As far as like they can be a Divinity Original Sin type RPG, or they can be I don't know,
Fallout
Mass
or
Effect, yeah,
Skyrim.
Fallout, Mass Effect, Skyrim, or
Yeah,
something of that nature.
yeah.
Um, so there isn't one type of RPG, but I will say in their defense, this to me, this isn't really an RPG. It's an action game with light RPG elements. Um, but you have giant kaiju fights where if you don't know what kaijus are, they're like big fucking monsters and shit like that, fighting each other over like land and everything. Like the game is fucking crazy, and I loved every bit of it. I think the summon fights are just fucking crazy. Um, and the spectacle of the fights are just fucking insane. Um, I think the gameplay and the moment to moment stuff is worth that. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're getting treated, if you don't like the combat, you're getting treated like, okay, well, here's your reward for playing through the game. This super long cutscene that's really fucking good, and the voice acting is really fucking good. There's barely any like cringy dialogue in here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. When Yoshi P said in an interview, he said that this game was made English first, English speaking first, and you can tell like
Yeah.
that was the forefront of it. It wasn't like a Japanese game translated to English. It's an English game translated to Japanese. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they really took some uh some risk here. Like this is like a really risky game. Not
Yeah.
only were you like saying this is going to be an English first game, there's like barely any diversity because of the landscape they're in and everything of that nature.
Yeah.
Uh, and changing the action and everything of that nature. It was just a very risky game. I think it paid off in my opinion because I forgot about all that shit when I'm playing the game. I'm just enjoying the game. But like I said, how you said like the Zelda thing with us, I can definitely understand people saying this isn't a Final Fantasy game for them, in my opinion. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, that's subjective because in my opinion, this is a Final Fantasy game. If people were able to accept 15 as being a Final Fantasy game, then you definitely should be able to accept this game as being a
Yeah.
Final Fantasy game.
I agree. Well, okay, so I'm gonna guess Jason stands by this review, but I I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna read a paragraph.
Okay.
Yikes. Oh boy, here we go. All right, quote: "The glue holding Final Fantasy 15 together, even at its most brittle moments, I can't do it. I can't get through this. Is the combat system, which ranks among the best I've ever encountered in a game like
Oh
this.
my god, you
It's an
can't.
innovative mix of real-time reflexes and cooperative strategy that feels like a natural way for Final Fantasy
Is this the
to step into
original?
the modern era." Yes, from 2016. I don't dude, this makes me question everything I've ever thought about Jason Schreier. Like, bro, what? Like, what is this paragraph? Like, he does talk about the janky like cut in the middle of the game where it becomes like this super linear fucking game, but he's mostly positive about the game. Like, he likes the game in this review a lot. He said it's a great game, so I
Yeah,
oh
so that's
yeah,
another thing
I
with
don't know.
like Skillup and Jason Schreier. They both have terrible repertoires as far as like character action games. You know,
I get that vibe very much. I think it's
I
weird how big Skillup's gotten, and how much people like glean, like how much people, I don't know, get attached to his opinions on games.
mm,
Um because there is an element to him that I feel like there's certain types of games that I feel like he just doesn't analyze very well, you
yes,
know?
yeah,
And that this is definitely one of those genres for sure, character action games, like one hundo. Like I just don't feel like he knows how to talk about them.
And I think that's a fair. I think that's fair because, like, for me, right? Like me and Chris was talking about this when I went out to like Detroit and
Mhm.
everything. I don't really know how to fairly critique sports games. Like I know how to play them, and I love some sports games, but like me and DJ also talking about that. Like I don't know how to fairly critique them. So sometimes when I do talk about sports games, I don't really talk about it in depth the way some people want me to. So I rather not talk about them at all as far as a review
Mm.
aspect of things or whatever.
Right.
Whereas I think with him, he has a clear bias
Yeah.
towards these type of games, like you were saying. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah,
Oh no,
yeah,
you're good. Keep going.
yeah, like
That was pretty much so.
yeah, he does have a clear bias because I remember watching his Bayonetta 3 review, and he just really doesn't like. And another thing in his review, and a lot of other people were doing, not just him, it was a lot of other people. They were constantly comparing this game to fucking God of War. Um, I
Yeah.
think that's just like I don't know because Jason Schreier did it too when he compared this game's action to God of War, and it's just like, oh, God of War is so much better, and I'm just like,
They're different styles.
yeah, because it's not like God of War's bad. It's just a different style of combat.
Like God of War is a weighty, your feet are on the ground action game,
Yeah,
whereas this is much more no, I don't want to say floaty, but like dude, the air combos I've seen in this game, like you don't even go in the air in God of War. So like it's like a totally different thing.
yeah, and I don't know. I just think that's a very unfair comparison because people keep comparing it like, oh, well, Western action games are just so much better, and I'm just like, it's a different style. I don't think necessarily one's better than the other. I do love the style of Western action games, but I also love the style of Eastern action games as well. And I just think that's a very unfair comparison, like very unfair.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if you want to compare story and everything, that's cool too. I think they're trying to do two different things, in my opinion, but uh, I can definitely understand the criticism there, as far as like side quests and everything of that nature. But for me, like, I don't know, I was attached. I'm attached to the characters, even the side characters. I'm attached to them. I think they do a really good job at that, in my opinion. For you not to have a party, um, it's almost like Devil May Cry as well, where I was attached to like the vendor lady. I forgot her fucking name. God damn it, because I haven't played Devil May Cry 5 in a while. But yeah, she fixes like your arms. She gives you all the double triggers and stuff like that. And I was like, she was like really cool. She's a cool addition to the DMC crew. And then you have like other people like Lady and fucking Trish and everything like that, who you don't play as directly until recently. You never
Mm-hmm.
played as them directly.
Mm-hmm.
And you always experience them through cutscenes, and they all have their personalities. Even Virgil has his own personality. You didn't play as Virgil until the special edition of Devil May Cry 3, but people love Virgil. So it's like you can experience these characters uh um like Metal Gear Revengeance does the same thing. Like people love Jetstream Sam, but you didn't play as Jetstream Sam until the DLC came out. But people loved him for his personality, his charisma, and you were only playing against him as an enemy or whatever. So I don't know. I think there's ways to make people love characters without having to actually play them or be in your party all the time. Because I mean, we talk about how much we hate Donald and Goofy all the fucking time, and we travel with them motherfuckers all the fucking time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
but people love Riku, and when you just recently started playing as Riku, people
Mhm.
love Mickey, and you just recently started playing as Mickey in like Kingdom Hearts games and stuff like that. Axel and all these other characters in these games that people love, and you never played as them, but you experienced them through cutscenes and everything of that nature.
Well, they're
So
not even in your party technically either, generally
they're not.
speaking. Like there's very brief moments in certain games where they become a quote party member, but like Axel never did. Mickey barely, maybe like he was playable in like Kingdom Hearts 2, I think, when you would die sometimes, but
Yeah, yep.
um that
Like,
was
but I
pretty
know people who
rare.
cried when Shion came back. Well,
Hmm.
spoiler alert if you guys didn't play 3. Well, when Shion came back, I know people, they were like crying. They're like, yo, she's
Hmm.
back. And like, you never played this, or you played against her, and
Yeah.
you experienced her through cutscenes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you had to fight her and everything like that, but I don't know. I just think the whole Final Fantasy thing where they have to be in your party to experience all this other shit like that. I just think that's really weird in my opinion. So that's about like my non-spoiler like preview review of the game. I think the game's very good. Like I said, 8.5 to a 9 out of 10 for me. Um it definitely has its faults, but I don't think it's worthy of its review bombing that it's getting. I don't think it's worthy of this like weird hate that it's getting online.
Hmm.
I just honestly think people don't like action games. And
Um,
people, yeah,
sorry. Uh, One question. So there was some point in Skillup mentioned something where he said that 50 to 75% of this game is cutscenes. Is that has that been true to your experience so far?
uh, give or take.
Really? Okay. Okay. That that's interesting because I personally like I kind of get hyped for that. I don't know. I mean I love Xenoblade games, so you know I'm a cutscene
No,
whore.
I love
But
it too. It's some cutscenes were longer than others. That's a really good comparison actually. Uh, Xenoblade style cutscenes, they're longer than Xenoblade in my opinion. Some of the
mm,
things like I can like
okay,
eat while I'm watching a cutscene. I
it's like a
appreciate
movie.
that. Yeah, it's like a fucking movie because I appreciate it. I'm like, oh, I can like kind of rest and play the game or whatever, or eat while I'm playing the game or whatever. So I actually like it. So for me, it works. But for other people, I understand why they may not like that per se. But I don't know. That just cutscenes has just been always been a Final Fantasy thing. So
Mm,
even like I would argue to say a Square Enix thing. Like
yeah.
almost all their games have like very extensive cutscenes.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. To me, this game was just like, I mean, you just saw the gradual progression of Final Square Enix game. I've been talking about this game for a while. I'm sorry, but it's like a gradual progression of what they were trying to achieve.
Hmm.
From like 13, I even say all the way back to like Kingdom Hearts. The only reason Kingdom Hearts exists is because they were too scared to bring this into the Final Fantasy world. And I think they always wanted it to be into the Final Fantasy world as action style combat, but they had to try it in other games first.
Yeah.
And now this is where we're at. It was a gradual evolution towards this. Um, and I mean, there's still a place for turn-based games. I mean, you got Persona, you got Bravely Default. I mean, there's still
Octopath
places for
Traveler.
the Octopath Traveler and everything of that nature. So I'm not saying turn-based is dead because I love turn-based combat as well. But I mean, you can get your fix from other games that do it. To me, Persona is way better turn-based than
Yeah.
Square Enix games, in my opinion. But that's
Yeah.
neither here nor there.
Yeah. I always felt like it was a big mistake on Square's part that they didn't call Octopath Traveler Final Fantasy something, whether it was a
Yeah,
numbered game or it was like a side game like Final Fantasy Chronicles or something like that, you know.
yeah.
Um cuz I mean that game has that Final Fantasy feel, you know, it definitely does. And I always felt like that was a mistake on their part. I think that would have satiated people who wanted that more traditional game who I don't know, like aren't super into the industry but who are Final Fantasy fans, you know.
Mhm.
Cuz there I'm sure there are people out there who complain about the non-turn-based thing who never even played Octopath Traveler. Like they don't even know what it is, you know. I'm sure there are people out there like that. So I don't know, but all right. Well, we'll have more thoughts on the game as we both play it some more. Is that all you've been playing, Montreal?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, mostly for me it's been I've been pretty busy this week actually, so I haven't not played a ton, but it's mostly just been Atelier Ryza 3. I am getting deeper into this game. I'm actually starting to get into the what I would call the mid game probably. Where I'm starting to see more high level shit. It's kind of a weird game. Like I've talked about this before, but like the game is really I don't want to like disjointed sounds really negative, but that's like the best way I can think to describe it right now. Where the progression doesn't happen in anything close to what I would call linear fashion at all. like there are massive power spikes to your capabilities in this game that happen when you go out of your way to do it. Because the way the crafting system works in this game, like in terms of upgrading your gear and shit like that, like you don't get gear by doing quests, you don't get gear by doing like fighting enemies, you don't get gear by like opening chests and shit out in the open world. Like you literally, the only way you can get gear is by crafting it. But the way the crafting system works, you get as much out as you put into it. So it's like if you want something really really strong, and you put like all your best shit into an item, and you really invest in making those components of an item like as high quality as you can, that will make the item you're trying to make high quality as well, like really high quality and really strong. So I've been doing that lately with the game. That's kind of where my focus has been outfitting my whole party with some really strong equipment. And there's like 10 party members, so it's taking me a lot of time to do all this, by the way. But now that I've done it on about, I'd say 4 or 5 of the party members, and goddamn, my party feels fucking powerful right now. Like I am obliterating monsters now, because everybody's outfitted with like this really what I would consider OP gear for where I'm at. But I put the investment in to do that, so it's like the game kind of rewards you for that investment. And I don't know, I just really love the way that system works. It's so antithetical to the way a lot of RPGs work nowadays. Like coming off of Diablo, where the game's scaling is so like you never feel powerful. I guess it's such a nice like change of pace from that kind of shit. And other RPGs, you know, like even JRPGs, for instance, like Tales and shit, you know, like those games also kind of scale in such a way where you never really truly feel powerful until very late in the game. It's kind of nice to play a game where you can literally just make yourself OP if you want to put the time in and do that. Like it's available to you from the fucking get-go. Like you can do that from the moment you start playing the game. You just really need to figure out the systems, the crafting system, and how, you know, the traits work, the way the quality system works, the way the element system works, and all that stuff. Once you figure all that out and you kind of start unlocking how to make items really powerful and like make them very high quality and do what they're supposed to do extremely well, you start getting to a point where you're like fucking just making absolutely crazy shit that's like super powerful. So that's kind of where I'm at with this game. I made a lot of progress in the story as well. I definitely feel like I'm over the halfway point with the game at this point now, for sure. But I'm still taking my time with it though. I'm not rushing through it. I don't want to rush this one. I'm like really enjoying it too much to do that. So I'm probably gonna play it side by side with Final Fantasy 16, I think, and then you talking about Zelda is making me want to play that too. So I might turn that on my Switch. So I may have like 3 or 4 games going at once here for the next few weeks, because I'm, as much as I do like Atelier Ryza 3, I need to play something else though, like newer, because it's I can't play the same thing for this long and just like it eventually
sounds fucking huge.
It's a fucking big game, man. Like I started reading about it because I was curious, like, are they all like this? And the answer is no. They generally are much smaller than this game. Like Atelier Ryza is the 3rd in a series for them, of like it's a trilogy of games. And the first game's map is in this game, and it's like maybe 10% of the overall game map, maybe 20%. Of the overall game map that you can explore in this game. So yeah, this game's like 4 or 5, maybe 6 times bigger than the first game in this trilogy. So that should tell you all you need to know. Like this game is huge. They put everything they could into this one. And it shows. Like it's a great game. Like I'm fucking loving it, man. So I will continue to sing its praises. But so yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. Let's move on to the news, and we've got a lot this week because the FTC hearing against Xbox, against their acquisition of Activision, has been happening this week, and a lot of shit has come out of it that probably shouldn't have, but we got some really nice stuff. So Let's start with the first one. This one's probably the most obvious, but definitely worth talking about. So, when Phil Spencer was being questioned this week, he admitted that Xbox and Microsoft bought Bethesda because they were worried about Sony buying exclusivity, which they have a penchant to do with third party publishers. And Sony at the time was trying to get Starfield to be an exclusive for PlayStation. So that apparently was scary enough that Microsoft decided to buy Bethesda so that they could secure Starfield. Literally, like that's insane, kind of crazy, but yeah, that I guess that's a thing. So, what do you think of that, Montrell?
Um, that's actually pretty. I don't know what to say about it, to be honest with you. I've been thinking about this all day, to be honest with you, and I just don't know how to feel about it. I know a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are like, oh, Microsoft needed it, and then people are like, oh, they're buying up the industry and everything. I just honestly don't know what to say about it. I think Microsoft needs a win.
Yeah.
And this was their win, in my opinion. I think that Starfield showing can probably push a lot of Xbox Series X's, or even get people into their environment, their ecosystem through PC and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
it's just weird. They need to do it now. Is it a good thing they did it? I don't think so. I mean, because then they can just buy what they want to buy, I guess. But I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I think this was something. I think we may have even talked about this when they bought Bethesda, or at some point in the time since they bought Bethesda. I remember rumors about Sony being in talks about Starfield exclusivity at some point. So it makes sense that this would be a reaction. But to spend billions of dollars for one video game is a little crazy.
Yeah.
Because the fallout of buying a publisher the size of Bethesda is pretty huge for a company like, Microsoft. I guess not for a company like Microsoft, given how huge they are. But it doesn't surprise me though. I think Phil and funnily enough, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella are they're in tune enough with the industry to realize kind of how far behind they are, and how
Yeah.
far behind they were at that time. I think their acquisition of Bethesda was really important to putting them in a position where they're at least not a joke, relative to Sony. And losing Starfield would have been a massive fucking blow for Xbox at the time. I feel like it would really have sucked total dick. Especially think about it now, right? We've been talking about Xbox and everybody's been complaining that they're not releasing exclusives, and the exclusives they are releasing have sucked, mostly.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you combine the atmosphere we're in right now with the idea that if Starfield was coming out, think about the opposite reality where Starfield's coming out in September and it's only on PlayStation, and Xbox is in this scenario right now. They would be getting killed, dude, like absolutely obliterated. So they kind of did themselves a favor probably by buying Bethesda and securing Starfield. And I think it's going to prove out to be a good investment. Obviously,
Yeah.
like I think Starfield has the potential to make them a lot of what they spent to buy Bethesda in general. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine, and it doesn't surprise me either. It's just funny that they admitted it. But you know what the funny part about this though? I read through a lot of these hearings, and there was a point where Pete Hines, who is he's one of the PR executives for Bethesda. He has been for a long time. He's been with Bethesda for a long time. He was on the podium and he was asked some questions, and there was points where they brought up some emails that he sent out to, I think, Phil Spencer as well as Todd Howard, where he questioned why Microsoft was being so effusive in saying that they were willing to put a lot of Activision's games on PlayStation, and yet they had just been told at that time to stop making anything for PlayStation, so
Yeah.
it's interesting the internal strife that happened there a little bit, that Bethesda wasn't totally on board with this sale, it sounds like, in some ways. But so there's some interesting stuff there too. But um, I don't know how much relevance any of that really has to the question of whether Microsoft should be allowed to buy Activision. It's just kind of more of an interesting news piece, I guess. But
Well, it was
yeah,
another article I read, kind of related to this, where the CEO of Microsoft, I forgot his name already.
Satya Nadella.
Yeah, Nadella. He pretty much was whining or complaining. I don't want to say whining, but he was complaining that they wanted to get rid of the exclusivity thing, but
Yeah,
Sony doesn't want to do that. and and a lot of people were in the comments and everything like that. After I read the article, they were making sense. Like exclusivity's been a thing since like the Atari. Like you're not gonna. That's like
from the
the
beginning,
yeah.
of this industry,
That's a staple of
absolutely.
gaming, and
Yeah,
um, you have to bring it or go home.
yeah.
And unfortunately, like you complaining to Sony, like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't have exclusives. Why don't we all eat, guys? And it's like, no, Sony
Well,
knows what they're doing. Like, you need to make exclusives too.
it's
And
also what benefit would that give Sony?
exactly,
Like they're zero. Like they're not Microsoft, they can't compete on a pound for pound level in terms of money, like raw buying power. They don't have that level of financial capital. So they need to get every advantage they can elsewhere, and their big advantage is exclusives. So of course they're going to leverage that. It is interesting that it's not being keyed upon by the FTC as much, though. Like that they're worried about Xbox having this exclusive, and yet they have all these exclusives like at the same time. It is weird that that's being like talked around in this whole thing, because it is a little hypocritical. But at the same time, Call of Duty compared to anything is, that's apples to oranges. You're not really, that's not a fair comparison, generally speaking. So I get that, but yeah, I don't know. I think Microsoft's desire, like what they're saying, would only benefit them, right? Because they're behind. Like it wouldn't help Sony at all. So
yeah, exactly. Um, because when the Xbox 360 was ahead, I mean, I don't remember Sony complaining like this. They
no,
just had to bring it, like, and they did, and they caught up with them at the end of the generation. So, I mean, Xbox, to be honest with you, they dug themselves in this grave or in this hole, and they have to dig themselves out of it. And that's just it is what it is. I mean, whether they're gonna buy themselves out of it, but you're acquiring all these studios, but people are expecting stuff from these studios that you're
right,
acquiring.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know, they just, in my opinion, like if I was Nadir, I would just be like, or Nadella, wherever. I'm sorry. I would just be like, Phil, like, what's going on, bro? Like, we bought all these studios, and maybe he doesn't know the game industry like that, but it's like, where are all the games that we need to make? Like, where are all the exclusive games we need to make? And they're just
yeah.
not bringing it hard enough for me. So, in my opinion, like, even if I was the FTC and I was looking at this, but this also goes to show how much the FTC doesn't really know about gaming. As I sent you an
Yeah.
article and I can't remember what it was, but it was about
The
Nintendo.
Switch thing, yeah.
Yeah, the Switch, and they
That's
were
been a
like, "Oh,
huge component of this whole week. They've been arguing about this constantly. Is the Switch a competitor to Xbox and Sony?
yeah," and they pretty much was like, "No." That was like the general consensus of from the FTC side of things. They don't think the Switch is a threat, and it's like it's the second highest selling console of all time. Like, are you serious? Like, it's blowing PlayStation 5 out the water.
Yeah.
It's blowing Xbox definitely out the water. It's even blowing their own consoles out the water. So it's like,
I think it's so I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. I don't think I don't think the Switch is a direct competitor to either. However, it is a competitor. It's
mhm,
just in a specific space, and that space, like Nintendo dominates, is like the handheld space, to the point that
yeah,
Sony's literally given up trying with it. But at the same time, it's still part of the industry. It's not something you can completely discount. You can't just say, "Oh, the Switch is nothing," and isn't relevant to Xbox and PlayStation. It totally is. It's just it it sits in a different zone where because there was a statistic that they shared where like 50% of PlayStation owners own a Switch or something like that, which is that's fucking crazy. But I honestly was kind of surprised. I thought the number might be higher actually, because of how ubiquitous the Switch has become. Um, but I think that kind of does play to the point though a little bit that it is not direct competition. Um, because consumers wouldn't own both if it was.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it like a sneaky like threat because if you own a PC, then you probably have a companion Switch. If you own the Xbox, then you probably have a companion Switch. If you own a PlayStation, then you have a companion Switch because it's so different from everything else. So I just don't understand why the Switch is in a conversation. To be honest with you, it's such on a different level. But I guess I don't know with the FTC, it just seems like they don't know its capabilities.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't trust the FTC's knowledge of video games. Now I understand what they're trying to do because they're trying to prevent a monopoly happening and from Microsoft and Xbox because I mean I guess technically you can say they own the PC market as well. Most people game on Windows
Yeah.
products.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then you got the Xbox or whatever that case may be. So if they do get Activision Blizzard, they would not only have their market on the console side with Call of Duty, but like the PC side, not even counting Call of Duty PC players, like World of Warcraft and all those other PC games, they will have a lock on that market as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they can probably try to implement Blizzard, the Blizz thing, the Blizzard client into the Microsoft client as well. So it'll be a whole thing with that, and like totally shutting off PlayStation from that if they wanted to, which I don't think they would, but that would be a really bad business choice in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, there was some more interesting stuff. So remember that document we went through a few months ago?
Yeah.
That like giant legal document. Well, I think we got some numbers from that accidentally this week. Some things were not redacted properly around Call of Duty specifically, and so I'm just gonna go through the whole thing. A lot of this what we're getting is from The Verge. The Verge did some nice coverage of all this week, so go give them a read. They had a lot of really nice articles, kind of summarizing a lot of the stuff that happened this week. So so from the article, one of the ones, this was very notable to me. So one of the documents revealed that Horizon Forbidden West, which is one of Sony's biggest, first party games in the last few years, cost 212 million over 5 years with 300 employees, and then The Last of Us Part 2 cost 220 million with around 200 employees. So that tells you the cost of AAA games we're talking about now in this modern era, and it's only going up. I mean, those numbers seem low to you or high?
About where I would expect them to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Especially like The Last of Us and everything. Yeah, that's probably about where I expect it to be.
Yeah.
The way they're being presented and marketed and everything like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I almost feel like it's a little low given how much time they spend on these games.
Really?
But yeah, man. I don't know. Like you're working on a game for 5 years, 6 years. I mean, the payroll costs add up,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess when you put it all together, that's what it comes to at least. So so moving into the Call of Duty specific stuff. So quote, in 2021, over 14 million users by device spent 30% or more of their time playing Call of Duty. Over 6 million users spent more than 70% of their time on Call of Duty, and about 1 million users spent 100% of their gaming time on Call of Duty. In 2021, Call of Duty players spent an average of 116 hours per year playing Call of Duty. Call of Duty players spending more than 70% of their time on Call of Duty spent an average of 296 hours on the franchise. So a couple of those numbers are question marks. The Verge was not 100% sure these are accurate, but the 14 million users at the beginning and then the 116 hours for people playing for total average of hours spent on PlayStation playing Call of Duty. But
About
yeah, what'd you think of those numbers?
1 million users spent 100% of their gaming time on Call of Duty.
I know, 100%. That is a lot, dude. 100%. That means you played literally nothing else on your PlayStation. Literally nothing. You didn't turn another game on. You know, like that's crazy that there's a million people like that. That's fucking insane to me.
I mean, I don't want to get sidetracked, but that kind of explains. Like, this is actually really good data, because that kind of explains some of the insane takes I've been seeing. There's this one Call of Duty like streamer / pro player or whatever saying like, you know, gaming's ruined. What ruined gaming? And I would understand now. I understand that, because if you play 100% of Call of Duty, you don't play any other game. You don't even know any other games exist. I mean, you probably do know other games exist, but you don't care. You just don't care. And you're having these insane takes, and you're like a popular streamer and everything like that. Because there are other people on there saying like, play other video games. You just had fucking, you know, Final Fantasy 16 drop. You had fucking all these other games drop and everything like that. Just within the last couple months of gaming has been fucking crazy. So yeah, like that makes a lot of sense. There are 1 million people, about 1 million people that just spend 100% of their time on Call of Duty. And that's insane to me. That's actually insane. Like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even, what's it, 14 million users, but 30%. Like, even spending 30% of your time, that's 1/3 of your time on Call of Duty. I guess that's okay, because I mean, I guess we're probably doing that with like Apex at one point.
Right, or I'm doing that with like fucking Honkai or Genshin at
yeah,
any given time.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's okay, but that 100% and even the 70% is a wild. But like I said, I can understand the 70% too, because there was a period of time where we were playing nothing but Apex. We would come home and play nothing but Apex.
Yeah.
So, I guess I understand that, but even when we were doing that, we still got other bits of gaming in, as far as like other games.
Right.
I don't know. Yes, that's insane though.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nuts, dude. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Call of Duty's powerful. It's a really powerful franchise. To this kind of explains a little bit of Sony's trepidation. I mean, that many people playing one game for 30% of the time. Like, if the number is 14 million, dude, that is a humongous amount of people for the install base of a PlayStation console. That's over 10% of the entire player base. Depending on the time frame you're talking about too. If you're talking about early PlayStation 5 lifespan, I mean, that could be like fucking like half the console's like player base plus whoever's still playing on PS4, you know? Like it's I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot of people. So moving further on, there's another section here. This is more speculative, but I'm going to directly quote the article here. So quote, "We may have an inkling of the revenue impact because Sony also accidentally revealed how much Call of Duty is worth to PlayStation. We already knew the figure was over $1 billion, but the document suggests COD was worth $800 million for PlayStation revenue in just the US during 2021. And we think the document says $1.5 billion globally. And that's just the game alone. But when you count accessories, subscriptions, and everything else, then that jumps to what appears to our eyes to be $15.9 billion a year, or perhaps $13.9 billion. Either way, it's a huge amount. Yeah, that is a fucking massive amount of money for a game you're taking what, 30% of? Fucking insanity, bro. Call of Duty is powerful.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to be able to buy this. Like, with these numbers, I can't see the FTC approving this now.
It's kind of hard to justify when you look at it like that.
Yeah, it is. There's no I don't see how Xbox or Microsoft can justify it. I would probably say the one thing they can probably do is like buy Blizzard and then leave Activision on their own devices, but
They don't want that though.
They
I
don't
don't
want
think they
that,
care that
no.
much about Blizzard, dude. I really don't think they care that much about Blizzard.
Yeah, because even if you just buy Activision, you leave Blizzard by themselves or whatever whoever they're with, like Activision alone, just Call of Duty alone is just crazy. Even if you buy the franchise,
Yeah.
that's insane, man.
Well, I think the whole thing, most of what this is for Xbox is, I think they want King for the mobile stuff, actually pretty badly, and then I think they want Call of Duty for Game Pass, and I think that's all that. I think those are the things they care about. I think the rest of it is just like cherry on top. I think Blizzard's just the cherry on top.
Yeah, I'm still like amazed by these numbers. 1.5, 15 billion a year.
1.5 billion just from the game sales globally. That means Activision is taking in like 3 to 4 billion on the sales of the game globally.
And is the 15 billion like microtransactions and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Accessories, subscriptions, everything else. So, yeah. Yeah, that dude, can you believe that goes to 10x? You multiply the revenue by 10 when you include microtransactions and subscriptions. Like, what the fuck, bro? Gaming is fucked. What have we done, man? Like, what have we fallen into, everybody? I don't like, man. I don't know.
It's the it's the
we
it's
talk
the
about Madden and FIFA, dude, making $1 billion a year on microtransactions. I mean, that's the world we live in now, right?
But that's nothing compared to like Call of Duty.
I know. I know. It's like a pittance. It's so funny. Like, it almost makes you feel. It makes me feel like these numbers are nuts, man. Like, does Activision make more money combined from Call of Duty than like EA makes from everything they make? You know, like that's what it feels like with these numbers. You know.
And I also wonder that these companies have like, I mean, it makes sense why everyone's jumping on this train now. Like, you remember that one point everybody was trying to be Call of Duty, and I guess it makes sense now. Like,
yeah, it's really hard. I think it's really hard to explain with words. You know, just talking about it or anything other than these raw numbers like this to kind of explain the impact of Call of Duty from a financial standpoint. Like, it's that massive, dude. Like, it's so large in the industry that it's like it's like a fucking black hole, you know? Like, that's how big it is in the industry. I mean, I'm trying to think of like the idea of one game is generating that much revenue for Sony, fucking just for Sony, you know, they're not even making the majority of the cut, you know? It's like it's fucking wild, dude. That's wild. That is I'm kind of flabbergasted by these numbers if they happen to be right, you know? But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Call of Duty is fucking huge. Okay, let's move on to the probably the most interesting part of this for our show. Is there were some leaked documents around 2020 and 2021 emails within Microsoft talking about potential acquisitions that they were thinking of pursuing. And amongst these were many different companies. You remember all the rumors of Sega? Well, that was real. There's a whole fucking email in here from Phil Spencer, kind of explaining the possible benefits of buying Sega and why they look like a advantageous company to buy. But then among others, there's Supergiant Games, who are the people who they're an indie dev who makes they made Hades, right? So they're huge, extremely successful. Niantic, which are the ones that made Pokemon Go. Zynga, which has subsequently been purchased by Take-Two, so they're not available anymore. But they're a mobile game company though. So there's your there's your kind of proof that they were looking into mobile. Bungie, which funny since they owned Bungie before and let them go, but also the fact that Bungie's been purchased by Sony since.
Yep.
And then IO Interactive, who are the makers of Hitman. So that's an interesting one that they seemingly didn't pursue. Instead, I think they decided to pursue a partnership for the. I think that James Bond game is actually going to be an Xbox exclusive potentially.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and there's a few others in here called Thunderful. I think Playrix is. Yeah, Playrix, and then Scopely. I don't know those companies off the top of my head what they've made, but those are the ones that are listed here in the article. But there is apparently a lot more than that. There was like a whole list of companies, and Microsoft had a kind of a like listed one good thing about the company and one bad thing about the company. So if you want to search for that, that might be a fun one to take a look at. There's some interesting stuff in there. I actually saw this in a different article. They had Larian in there, Remedy, Housemark was in there, which got bought by Sony in the interim. Playdead, and then 11-Bit Studios, who made Frostpunk. So a lot of interesting studios.
This is actually insane.
Yeah.
The Sega thing is actually, I actually think that would benefit both parties. I'm actually surprised they didn't buy Sega. That was one I was really hoping they would actually do.
Yeah, but doesn't this reveal though kind of what's happened in the interim since, right? I think Sony knew about some of these clearly, and they went after Bungie. They went after Housemark. Housemark's obvious. That one makes sense. They've had a very long history with Housemark. Sony has, so that one made sense. But Bungie was weird, right? That was a weird one, and it almost feels like they got it so they could keep it away from Microsoft. The price was reasonable enough, and I think Bungie wanted to keep their autonomy enough that whatever money Microsoft might have been offering wasn't worth it versus Sony offering full autonomy and fucking $3 billion or whatever it was, so that's an interesting one. And there's some others in here. I don't know, like how much of this is still in flux. Like is Microsoft actively pursuing some of these still? That would be interesting to know. But doesn't this kind of paint the picture though of what Sony's trying to say, that like Microsoft just buys whatever they fucking don't have? How do we compete with that? If you're just going to keep letting them do this, no matter how big they are, it's like how eventually they're just going to buy out the whole industry.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I know I was, at least. I was saying there are some crybabies a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, but like now that these leaked documents have come out, we have actual proof. Yeah, like I'm 100% with Sony on this one. Like they're just gonna buy the industry out, and then like who knows what happens then, So yeah, this is insane. Like I don't know, this is actually like crazy, and like no one's talking about it. I just feel like nobody's talking about it, man. Like this
I know, definitely.
This is insane. And maybe they did talk. I don't watch the PlayStation I Love You anymore, or anything. And maybe they are talking about it on that stuff like that. But like even on my newsfeed from like YouTube and stuff, it's all video game oriented. I don't see anyone talking about this. Like this is fucking huge. Like, yeah, this is. I don't. It's like it's almost like, how do you talk about it? Because it's so big and it's so like mind blowing. Like
there's also another email in here from Matt Booty from 2020, where there's a quote in the email where he says the words "spend Sony out of business." I mean, that's pretty bad, man.
This is insane.
It's pretty bad. I do want to correct one thing. I did mention IO. It is not the James Bond game that's Xbox exclusive. It is the shooter RPG that they are making.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, online fantasy RPG shooter is what it's called. Is what they're terming it as. So that's the one that's going to be potentially Xbox exclusive. So But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff that came out of here. Yeah, it's definitely worth, if you guys have the time, I'd really recommend going and looking up some of this stuff. There's a lot more than what we just talked about here too, if you want to really get into the weeds, the nitty-gritty. But there's definitely some more interesting stuff, particularly Jim Ryan's testimony when he was on the podium. Definitely worth reading, I would say, as well, and Phil Spencer's stuff too. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. We'll see what comes of it. I don't know. It's just it's interesting how deep we're going here with this. Like, I'm really not sure. This, like, at this point, it feels even less than 50-50 that Microsoft's going to be able to actually do this, like make this purchase.
In my opinion, if FTC let this go through, then Microsoft probably bought out somebody at FTC, because this is insane.
Yeah.
With the leaked emails and everything, like, this is all public knowledge, so I guess they can use it in the trial or the case. But I, in good conscience, if I was on the board, no matter who I was leaning towards, I couldn't let this go through. Like, if this was Sony doing this, I couldn't let Sony go through with this. If this is Microsoft, like, I can't let Microsoft doing this. This is insane. Like, because they do. I mean, they almost, I don't want to say they have unlimited funds, but they kind of do. They can just buy out everything.
Absolutely. Relative to Sony's position, yeah, they have unlimited funds.
Yeah.
Dude, they're spending $70 billion on a fucking game company. Like, that is insane. Like, Sony literally doesn't have that kind of capital. Like, they couldn't buy Activision for the same price, you know? So yeah, I don't know. It's
and they would make that money back.
Yeah.
In like a year or two. That's
what we were just talking about with Call of Duty? Absolutely.
Yeah, they would make that money back. That's insane. I didn't know, like,
COD was making that much. Yeah.
I knew it was making money, but like, to have the DLC included in that, and it comes out to 15. We were going crazy over Genshin Impact making like 2 billion or some crazy shit, like
or something.
3 billion. Yeah. Like, COD's making 15 billion a year. That's insane.
Dude, no, that's just Sony's cut of the. That's just
sorry.
Sony's cut, dude. That's Sony's cut, Montrell. That's not Activision's. So basically, double that number for.
That's insane, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that seems like a lot. That seems like a really high amount of money. I find it hard to believe that they're really making like fucking 30 billion off
I believe
COD
it
globally, but
I believe it.
Fuck, man. I don't know.
We just saw 1 million people play the game 100% of the time. That's where all their money is going.
296-hour average, bro.
That's where all their money is going. Where else
that's
do you
an insane amount of time. Dude, 300 hours on a game is for an average. That's your average. Like, dude, that does, like, think about how many people play, and they play for, like, you know, I don't know, like 1 hour a fucking week or something, you know? Like, 296 hours as an average. That's crazy. That is a nuts. There are people putting thousands of hours into that game a year, you know? Like, absolutely. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty staggering. I mean,
I'm assuming it's gonna drop, right? Because that was like 2021. That was like, I don't want to say height of the pandemic, but like, we were still in the pandemic during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure a lot of people were playing the game from home, playing the game on their job while they're, you know, at work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's still, though, like, even if it's like a 5% drop, that's still a shit ton of money that Call of Duty is pulling in. That's fucking insane, man. Holy shit. Call of Duty is fucking big, bro.
Yeah. Yes, it is. All right. Well, let's change gears significantly and talk about Madden. We don't talk about it very often because we know you guys can't stand it sometimes when we get on our fucking rant soapbox about it. But there's some relevant news. So Madden 24, you know, we had talked about, I think, a few months ago, where EA management, off the heels of the fucking losing a bunch of franchise mode save files for all their players, said that Madden 24 was kind of a make or break year for the franchise. And wouldn't you know it, they're doing what they're terming a significant franchise mode update in Madden 24. And I looked through the video you sent me, and there is a giant blog post that I've linked on EA's website as well that has a fucking ton of information. But what did you think on first blush about this?
I was actually like impressed, but I'm not a fantasy mode connoisseur. But I was like, oh, okay, they're actually like fucking trying. Like, I'm interested in seeing what else they're gonna do with the game, as far as like changes and everything of that nature. But I was more so interested in your thoughts on it. Like, I really wanted your thoughts on the whole thing. They said that there are a couple of things they said that people were like demanding, and our clients were just demanding, or our customers are just demanding this, and players were demanding that, and everything like that. So,
bro, they've been demanding it for 10 years. I mean, this is my reaction to this is look, they haven't touched franchise mode in over 10 years, like in a significant way. From everything I've ever seen about it, I keep up with this. Like, I'm not like, I know some people have said that, oh, you don't play Madden anymore, but like I actively go research just because I want to play Madden. Like, I want to get back into this. So I check every year. I check every year to see if there's anything significant that's changed. And the answer has been fucking no. No, every year. I care about franchise mode. I don't give a shit about any other fucking mode in Madden, okay? That's what I play, is franchise mode. And they haven't fucking touched it. They've done little things here and there, little things. They fucking do these little stupid little things to try to appease people. And it's finally caught up with them, it sounds like. But going into specifics, there's certain things in here that they are adding training camp, which is funny. That's just like weird that they that they actually never added that, which is interesting. And actually, I kind of remember from back when I played last time, it wasn't in the game, not really. And practice between games was like non-existent for the most part. Because I remember way back, like Madden 05, back in the day, there were like little practice mini games you could do to make your players better in certain ways. You could increase the ratings and shit. I remember the last time I played Madden, there were no mini games. You didn't do that. You could still increase your players' stats, but you basically like allocated them to an activity, and that would raise their ratings, basically.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a weird, shitty management sim almost. But some things I want to like just call out a couple things here. Things that I cannot believe it's taken this long to get them to fucking add it to Madden is you can do a fantasy draft for franchise mode. You've been able to do that for a while. They actually tried to take it out a few years ago, and people lost their shit. I don't know. They were like, oh, nobody uses it or something like that, and people were like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, and when I say fantasy draft, that means you start a league with 32 teams and you draft the players in the NFL like it would be a fantasy draft. So you get to pick, like, you're the Patriots and you get to pick whatever fucking quarterback you want, like Patrick Mahomes or something.
Okay.
So you've been able to do that for a long time in Madden, but the draft was always fucked up because I tried to do it with a friend once and it was really stupid because the draft didn't snake. It wasn't a snake draft. Like, it would go 1 through 32, and then the team that picked first would pick first again in the second round, which is completely unfair. Like, that's like insane. Like, that's a terrible way to draft. Like, that is not fair drafting. The person going first shouldn't have the advantage in every single round,
Yeah.
That's like no fantasy draft you'll ever do in an actual fantasy league works like that. If it does, you should get out because that's a terrible league. So the fact that it worked that way in Madden like broke the whole mode. Whoever got the first pick just got all the best players in every round, So they've actually added a snake. You can do a snake now. Like, there's an option to do a snake draft. Trades, which was always a thing that I thought was hilarious in Madden's franchise mode, how broken the mechanic was. Because I remember in Madden, I want to say it was Madden 25, which was the 2012 version of Madden. It was the 25th anniversary of the franchise. you could I traded a very highly rated fullback for Calvin Johnson at the time, who was like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And it worked. It worked. The game took the trade because the logic around trading was so dumb. It just really, I don't even know what it used, but it seemed like it was mostly based on the rating of the player you were trading, regardless of position. So they are going to increase or change. They're going to change the logic around trading a little bit, so that probably that kind of exploit can't happen as much. And they also said trade difficulty can now be set, so you can have easy, very easy, reducing the value needed, or you can do hard, very hard, raising the value. I would like to see more of a slider here rather than 2 points personally, but it's something, at least. They're going to be changing the way free agency works a little bit more, so you will actually have to bid, I think, against other teams, and there's also the ability to do contract negotiations with your players mid-season rather than just when their contract runs out, so you can restructure people's contracts, sort of like the real NFL. They're also including real salary cap rules from the NFL, so you have to adhere to the true rules that the NFL organizations adhere to, which is that's a nice change. There are also going to be sliders for player progression and regression, meaning how much your player's skills degrade as they get older based on the age of the player.
Okay.
So that's a nice thing. I like that. That'll be a fun one to play with. Let's see what else we have here. Draft classes. This was a big one. So draft classes in Madden have typically been just totally randomly generated, where the players have random stats, random names. They have random, height, weight, all that stuff, random positions. And wasn't a very satisfying experience in my experience doing actual, like, I'm talking like rookie drafts, post, like, after a season, in the off season. Wasn't the best part of the game. Certainly it was sort of fun, but it just didn't, to me, it didn't really work that well. The game, it didn't feel like the draft very well. So they're looking to improve that a little bit. They said they've done a lot of work over the last couple years, I guess, in terms of how their generated draft classes feel and are more unique. But let's see. So it's good to see that there's going to be more there for sure. Let's see. They actually went into the draft stuff a lot. There's a lot of information there. Definitely worth reading. Certainly. Relocation. So you'll be able to relocate your team mid-season, it sounds like, as well. And there's 34 total cities you can relocate. It's also not limited to owners only. You can relocate when you're playing as a coach as well. So it's always been a weird thing with franchise mode. You were able to play as a coach or a owner, where playing as the owner would give you access to basically everything that franchise mode offered, whereas playing as the coach it would kind of focus you more on the team aspect of the franchise mode. You wouldn't have to worry about the stadium or anything like that. And even some of the GM stuff, I think, might not be as robust when you were playing as a coach too. Let's see. Changes to talent trees for head coaches, coordinators, and player personnel as well, which I didn't even know this was in the game. But sounds like they're doing a little bit more with that too. So it sounds pretty in depth. Is it enough to make me come back? No. I'm not going to come back immediately. I need to see how all this plays out personally. I want to see what players think when the game comes out. But they did say that this is the start of a multi-year journey with making franchise mode more robust. So that certainly gets me more excited. But again, it's EA and Madden, and it's hard for me to trust them really at all. So I'm gonna evaluate it as it comes out, see what people think, and get like a real view of how the game transforms. So those are my thoughts mostly. But yeah, I don't know much. What do you think?
Like I said, I really don't have an opinion. I really want to know your opinion because I thought maybe this would be the one to bring you back. So what would need to happen? What would you need to see from Madden? Even if it's this year, if they show more to like say, okay, I'm gonna buy the game and try it out.
I need this is an issue I've always had with Madden is that it approaches football like an arcade game, and I need them to embrace the simulation element that many people desire from Madden or from a football game. I need them to embrace that more and give me more features like the salary cap stuff that they're talking about and the way the draft works and fixing trading and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that shit, that's the kind of shit I need to see. Like I need it to feel like I'm a fucking NFL executive or an NFL coach running a fucking team, dude. Like I want
Okay.
it to and I want the game itself, the actual gameplay of the in-game game to give me more ways to make it feel like a simulation. I'm not saying the game has to be a simulation for everybody. I need more options to tune it so it feels that way for me, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of this off-season stuff is good because that was the worst aspect of franchise mode. Like straight up, the off-season program was terrible for Madden in my experience playing it. It's just like it's like a joke, you know. Um, so I'm glad they're getting a little bit more complexity there, but frankly, I want to see some gameplay tweaks as well in the actual game, with the way animations work for tackling and hitting, and catching the ball and things like that. I need some core, like I'd like to see some core changes in the gameplay because that's an issue Madden's had for a long time, where the gameplay is animation based rather than being more fluid. Um,
Yeah.
it's like players will get locked in an animation based on things happening, and then the game gets stupid because it's trying to adhere to that animation, and then weird shit happens in the game. And that's always been an issue with Madden, and it's going to continue to be an issue until they address it. So I need to see some of that too. Like, these franchise mode things are nice, but like it's just a piece of the game, like the main component of Madden is playing fucking football,
Yeah.
and that part needs to be like the best shit ever, and it's just not close to that. So a lot of these changes, like I'm sure they put a lot of time into this, but it kind of makes me concerned that they're not hitting that gameplay side either, right? Like this year, like that's not going to happen this year, because that's how this goes with Madden. It's always there's usually one big thing they focus on, and this year it's franchise mode. Make it franchise mode better, which is great. I love it. I love to see it, but there's just a lot of issues with Madden other than that. In the underlying game itself, the way the sliders work is totally like obtuse and hard to figure out. Like the player base, when I say sliders, I'm talking about gameplay sliders where you like adjust the way, like how much interceptions happen or how much fumbles happen. You can adjust those things for your gameplay, and I'd like for them to give us more visibility into what those sliders actually mean. Because there's some really obscure ones that aren't as obvious. That like seriously, there's ones for blocking. Legitimately, like there are sliders for blocking and shit, like lineman blocking and stuff. Like be more transparent with the player base, like give me more information around that stuff so I can better tailor the experience to what I want. Because every Madden that comes out, it always takes like 2 or 3 months for the player base to really understand how the sliders work for this particular iteration of Madden, because it fucking changes every year inexplicably. And that is an issue. Like that's why I never dive into Madden right away, because I don't even know if I'm going to like the game based on that slider stuff, because that's how I play. I want to play a simulation game, So without that, it's like I'm not getting the experience I want. I don't want to play 5-minute quarters. I don't want the game to be 75 to 70, Like that's not exciting to me at all. That's not fun. That's not what I'm looking for in a football game, I want
Yeah.
real football where it's like 15-minute quarters and it's actually really hard to score a touchdown, like that's what I'm looking for. So until I can get that guaranteed, they're not going to get me back necessarily. This might be enough to get me to dip my toe in. I might try it if because I have a friend, him and I have done 2 or 3 stints where we've done a franchise mode together online, and it was fucking awesome, dude. Like super fun, but we've both fallen off the game because of all the issues it has over the years. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna pay attention. This was certainly good to see. I was happy to see it earlier, and when I actually like watched the video, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't like a joke. This is like they're actually trying. You know, um, you know. But that's my first reaction though. Is this a joke? Like, is this? Am I going to laugh at this when I'm done watching it? That's not a good place for EA and Madden as a franchise to be in. And as much as we are laughing at the idea that EA's management considers this entry to be make or break for the franchise, they're actually not wrong. And I'm glad they're seeing enough frustration and anger at the franchise in general that they feel that way. I think that is a good sign personally. So at least they're paying attention, which they haven't been for years.
Well, I mean, to be honest with
now.
you, that whole threatening thing that EA said was like, "Hey, get this shit together, or we're cutting the cord." We're cutting the cord. So I kind of
know.
knew
Really though, I like that is what it would take. Like they have to make the studio feel the pressure. You know.
Well, it's kind of weird. It's kind of funny that this is coming off because I don't know if you. I think you talked about it last week, or maybe you didn't. I'm sorry, but with EA splitting up or splitting their studios up
Oh
into
yeah.
separate studios, I think this is to hold more accountability, in my opinion, because you can't
Yeah.
just go all under EA now. It's like now it's EA Sports and now it's EA Games and all this other stuff like that. Like there's accountability now with these studios, and I think that has this team kind of scared. Like they really don't have to try. Combined with like the blunders of Madden 2023 and people have just been complaining about it. They still buy the game, but they've been complaining about it, and I think EA is finally like listening to them. So,
well, it's gotten really embarrassing the last 2 or 3 years. Like the last 2 or 3 entries of Madden are the absolute worst it's ever been. Like hilariously bad. Like those videos when Madden comes out in August of all the bugs, all the hilarious things that like the Madden 22 logo is still in Madden 23 in many different spots. They didn't catch that. Oops. Like a lot of that stuff. Like, dude, that's been happening for the last like 3 years. Straight. And it's I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting a huge amount of improvement though. Like I just don't I don't have faith. They've totally lost any faith I've ever had. Like they have a long road to earn that back, and I think that's true for a lot of people.
I'm just surprised that this didn't happen sooner when we had the copy paste version of Madden where they left the old version of Madden.
Dude, they've done that though 2-3 years in a row though. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like they get called out for it and then they don't even do it the next year. Like they fuck it up again. Like I don't know. It's fucking embarrassing, dude. Like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be watching this one too, and I'm really gonna be watching it because I really want to see how Angry Joe feels once he gets his hands on the game and everything of that nature.
Oh yeah, that the annual Madden video he does is it's become like a holiday, on YouTube. I feel like I think it's something many of us all look forward to every year is that video. So we'll see if this year's is any better. But like I said, I don't have a ton of faith, but reading through this blog post, like there's some cool stuff in here. The draft generator, getting more into the draft part real quick, like they're breaking players down into different types of prospects, which I actually think is kind of a cool thing. That's kind of a cool idea. So we'll see how that plays out, for sure. But yeah, me and that friend of mine, I'd love to play another league with him, because like I've told you, I've memories of that, like some of the like coolest shit we've had where him and I played a league where we both we were in opposite conferences. He was in the NFC, I was in the AFC, and actually sorry, it was the opposite. He was in the no, he was in the NFC. And I was in the AFC, and we met in the I'm forgetting this. We were both in the NFC. We were both in the NFC. We met in the championship game, for the NFC championship game. And I beat him He had like the best offense in the NFL, like in our league,
Mhm.
by like a mile. And I beat him 14-10. I held him to 10 points in a 60-minute Madden game. It was one of the coolest fucking things I've ever experienced, man. So those highs are there sometimes. Like the game has the capability of having those highs.
Yeah.
Um, but like you gotta fix all this shit to get me there. I need to feel that more often, you know? It's like that was like a very specific thing that like we were just not able to recapture that every other time we've tried it, you know, that kind of magic that happened there. Because it was like really cool. Like he lost, but he was like, dude, that was fucking awesome, bro. Like it was such a like it was like a game of chess. Like the way we were play calling against each other was like it was awesome. Like I was reacting to his play calls. He was like trying to do hot routes and shit based on my formation on defense. Like it
Mhm.
was fucking awesome, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's Madden's unfortunately the baseline of the game is just not good enough anymore to like capture that kind of experience. So we'll see. All right, enough talk about Madden. Let's move on. MPD numbers for May. I think I went over April last week. So we just got the May numbers like yesterday. Weirdly enough, it was weird. It was really late for this month for May. But interesting month. So going over the numbers, total video game sales were 4.118 billion this year versus 3.665 billion last year. That is a 12% increase year over year. Video game content, so this is physical digital game sales, microtransactions, DLC, subscriptions, everything else basically. 3.622 billion this year versus 3.310 billion last year. That is a 9% increase. And then video game hardware, 338 million this year versus 216 million last year. That's a 56% increase. And then video game accessories, 159 million this year versus 139 million last year. That is a 14% increase. I did check these numbers against. I went back and looked at April real quick, just to remember, and then I went and looked. Yeah, against April. I wanted to see like how did this shake out, because these are huge increases relative to where we've been. The numbers have been relatively flat or negative for the last several months, so this is
Mhm.
interesting to see a month so positive. um those numbers are in line with April. So it seems like May of 2022 was a really down month last year, in general. And like like if you go look at April's numbers, like they're literally within 1% of each other in every single one of these categories, from May to April. So that is really interesting. But I would attribute a lot of this probably to Zelda more than likely.
Oh
Tears of the
yeah.
Kingdom
I
being
mean, there
huge.
there was a lot
So
of weird random sales for hardware and stuff like that as well.
mhm,
So I did catch a lot of that. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So top 20 best-selling games in the US for May of 2023. Number 1, of course, is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Number 2 is Hogwarts Legacy, interestingly enough, up from 6 in April. Number 3, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 4, Dead Island 2. Number 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Number 6, MLB The Show 23. Number 7, FIFA 23. Number 8, Mario Kart 8. Number 9, Resident Evil 4. Number 10, Far Cry 6 randomly. Number 11, Elden Ring. Number 12, Minecraft. Number 13, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 14, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 15, Madden NFL 23. Number 16, God of War Ragnarok. Number 17, New Super Mario Bros. Number 18, Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Number 19, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And then number 19, Super Mario 3D World. Montrell, anything jumping out to you there?
Uh, actually, Dead Island and Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
I know the show has been selling like crazy because it's on multiple game systems and everything.
Mhm.
So, and it's a really good sports game in general.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised Hogwarts Legacy is still selling the way it is.
Jump back up to number 2 for the month.
Yeah,
Over Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is interesting.
yeah. And Dead Island, that's been a sleeper hit. Like a lot of people have been playing this game. I wasn't expecting it to be like a system or a seller, but yeah, it's like a lot of people actually loved it.
Mm.
I guess the changes they did to it, moving away from that like RPG-ish type element they had, really kind of sold the game for a lot of people. But yeah, I'm still. I know I said it like 20 times already, but I'm genuinely curious why Hardworks Legacy jumped up in sales. Like I just no, that's a weird
Yeah,
game
I don't know.
because I don't think it's that good. Like it's
Yeah,
good, but I don't think it's that good. No.
I mean, it's gonna be the best selling game. It's I don't know. I think it's gonna be close to, if not the best selling game of the year, um, for 2023. It's sold way more than I think either of us thought it should have based on its quality.
Yeah.
Back when it came out. So, but that's the thing with the games, right? It's kind of hard if the game gets good reviews and people, relatively speaking, like the general populace feels like the game is good, then there's nothing that's going to stop you from buying it if you're interested in it. You know, you're not going to find out the quality's not where you thought it was until you buy it and play it yourself. You know, if there's nothing out there to warn you, you know, relatively speaking. So yeah, it's kind of one of those weird things with games without a demo, an extended demo, in fact. Because like you remember Hogwarts Legacy, for me early on, I was like really enraptured with the game. It took until I was like 20, 30 hours in for me to really fall off of it.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like, how do you know? You know, you're not gonna know until you play it. So a game's gonna sell what it's gonna sell. Far Cry 6 randomly at number 10. This apparently came out on Steam, so that kind of explains that one jumping up.
Okay.
Um, other than that, the rest of this is pretty in line with what you would expect. I guess Lego Star Wars jumping up is kind of weird, but it is May the 4th that has become like a Star Wars holiday. So there may have been a sale going on or something that jumped that game up big time. But yeah, interesting enough. Going to the overall numbers, I'm not going to read the whole list, but Zelda jumped to number 2 immediately for the entire year, best selling games of the entire year so far, 2023. Hogwarts Legacy is still ahead of it, so
Damn, that
we'll
game
see
really did sell a lot. That's
yeah,
crazy.
we'll see if it can maintain that. But yeah, Zelda just hopscotched Call of Duty, Star Wars, Resident Evil 4. So yeah, fucking Nintendo's raking it in right now, probably. All right. Um Also for the entire year, just real quick, I'm not going to read these numbers, but the year has been mostly flat for the most part in terms of sales, year over year up through this point. The only thing
Okay.
is hardware is really positive, which is not a surprise because the supply constraints have kind of eased in the first several months of the year. So, all right, Montreal, that is all we had for news.
All right.
I wanted to go over the year's release schedule. I've been having this on the dock for like weeks now. You want to take a few minutes to do this real quick?
No problem. I just we need to take a quick break. I have to use the bathroom.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Well, while Montreal's gone, I think I'm gonna keep going here, because I'll talk about the stuff that I'm kind of excited about in the back half of the year. So we're in June. We have passed Final Fantasy 16. So we're at the pretty much the tail end of June. And actually tomorrow there's a game. I think I mentioned this game on the podcast. I'm not 100% sure the last time I mentioned it, but Massive Detective Archives Raincode is coming tomorrow on Switch. Tomorrow, meaning day of recording, actually would be today if you're listening to this on the day it comes out. But yeah, Master Detective Archives Raincard. That game looks really cool on Switch. Looks like a detective game, but has some I'd say mystery elements. I don't even know how to explain it really. Almost like an adventure game, sort of. But it just looks like a really interesting game in general. For sure, that one looks really cool. Pikmin 4 in July is really the next big one. I would say that I would consider that I'm actually excited about. Again, don't know if I'm going to play this one right on launch. I still got so much in my backlog, but that one will be on the wish list probably to certainly play that. And then in August, so getting into August, man, this shit starts hitting the fan pretty bad in August. So Baldur's Gate 3, which is coming in early August, and then if Madden's good, Madden on August 18th is a big one, and then Armored Core is the big one for the month of August. Montreal, you back?
Yes.
Okay, I was going through my picks while you were gone. So just real quick for you, so you can hear these. So there's a Master Detective Archives Rain Code. I think I mentioned that one before on the show. That's on the Switch. Pikmin 4, and then Baldur's Gate 3 in August, and then I did mention Madden real quick coming, and then there's Armored Core 6 on August 25th. For you, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk on August 18th is coming. I'm assuming that's a big one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Immortals of Avium on August 22nd. Actually, I think that one got delayed. I mentioned that last week. I don't think it's in August anymore. I think it's in September now. But
Okay.
that was the first person like sort of fantasy game coming. So we got that one. Starfield getting into September. We got Starfield on September 6th. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster on September 15th. Let's see.
Wow, I forgot all about that game. There's just
Yep.
been so many games coming out. I forgot all about that shit. That's crazy.
Yep. And then moving into October, we've got Assassin's Creed Mirage on the 12th of October. Super Mario Bros. Wonder on October 20th. Spider-Man 2 on October 20th as well. And then Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 on October 24th. So if you wanted to play Metal Gear Solid, good fucking luck. Get fucked. And then in November, we've got Star Ocean, the second story R, which is the remake of Star Ocean 2 that I was talking about that I'm excited about. Persona 5 Tactica on November 17th. That's a big one for me. And then the same fucking day as the Super Mario RPG remake on November 17th as well. So fuck me. November is going to be rough. And then moving into December, we've got Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. So, I mean, I just mentioned like 10 or 15 games in the second half of the year that I like genuinely am interested in playing, and I don't really know how to
You're definitely not
handle.
going to be playing all those
I'm
games.
not gonna. I'm probably not even gonna play a third of those. Don't know.
Yeah, it was some like I'm actually gonna in September. I'm actually considering getting Mortal Kombat. That game looks really fun.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Gloomhaven is already out on the Switch, but I think that's the Switch version that's coming out.
PlayStation. So it's coming on PlayStation. That I didn't mention that one, but yeah, my brother is like hitting me up. Me and him might co-op that possibly. So I don't know. That could be one I get as well.
Yeah, Jet say he already has it on PC.
Yeah, we have it on PC. I'm kind of hoping it's cross-platform play, and I don't have to buy it again. I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one.
Yeah. I mean, all the games you mentioned in Alan Wake 2, that's coming out in October.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's a lot of games coming out. They finally releasing the Hogwarts. I can't wait to see Hogwarts Legacy Switch on the Switch. Bro.
I know,
that's
dude.
just gonna be really.
That one's gonna be a meme factory, dude. That one's gonna be funny. I feel like it's gotta be. But yeah, man. No, there's a lot of video games. I mean, if all this shit comes out and there's not any delays on any of it, I mean, 2023 is looking like a really, really strong year for this generation for sure. Certainly better than the first two we've had. So
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, these first two have been held back. I feel like by just by
COVID.
the by COVID and by last
Oh
generation,
yeah,
people
last
holding on to
generation.
those. So
Yeah, last year was weird. Like the first half of the year was strong. I remember, and then like nothing came out for the second half of the year. Like
hmm
it was just dead. There was literally no games. Like it was pretty crazy. Um so yeah, we'll see. But any of these we play, we'll certainly talk about. Um yeah, it's a lot of exciting stuff. It is pretty exciting to have this many games to talk about. So to play and just be excited about in general. But don't forget though, in January, Montreal, the new Prince of Persia game.
yeah, so it's a lot.
hmm Yeah, so it doesn't even stop when we get into next year, like the beginning of next year. So good luck to us. GG's, boys. Yeah, Armored Core 6 is probably going to envelop September too if we actually get into it. So we'll see on that one. All right. Well, moving on to our final segment. You hinted at this earlier in the show, but guess the meta score. So Final Fantasy 16 has released, and with it have come the review scores. So it's been a while since we did this. Montreal guessed for Final Fantasy 16 that it would get a 9.6 rating, and I did call him a crazy person at the time because that is a really high average for a Metacritic. And then I guessed a 9.2. But we were both wrong. We were both off. It's got an 88 right now on PS5 on Metacritic. So I wasn't that far off. You were pretty far off. I mean, how are you feeling, Montreal? You think you'll survive? You'll be okay?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm actually just surprised that it's so low.
Yeah.
Or I guess
I'm
not low.
not. This has been pretty divisive. I'm actually surprised it's as high as it is at 88, with how divisive it's been.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody gave it a fucking 0.
What? Wait, what? An outlet?
No,
No.
no. Okay, it wasn't outlet. It was a
Okay.
reviewer. Okay,
Okay.
I thought it was an outlet, but it's actually Digital Trends gave it a 60 though.
Yeah.
Oh, so that is one thing. It's just, like it does have a frame rate issue. It doesn't reach 60 all the time. It reaches like maybe
Man.
45, 50, 55 maybe.
Yeah.
And it's not a huge issue. It doesn't it doesn't impact the combat, but it is a noticeable thing sometimes.
Mm.
When there's a lot of stuff on screen. So I don't know.
Diablo 4 sitting at an 88 as well. How do you feel about that one?
Mm, if this is for me, if Final Fantasy 16 is an 8.5, Diablo is like a 7 for me.
Yeah.
I don't even think Diablo should be that high. I think it should be 70. I think
I
there's a
don't
lot
think.
of issues with Diablo for me personally that I
Yeah.
don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I understand the trend though. I think this is kind of not Diablo's fault, or maybe it is. I don't fucking know. But this is like an offshoot of Destiny, the way they did the loot and the scaling thing and everything of that nature. So, uh, yeah, that's my biggest issue, and I think they were just tailoring it for like the gamers of today. So the gamers of today really don't know any better, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Diablo is as high as it is, and why people play it and they love it. Because this game got a lot of newer people into Diablo. I'm actually interested when they're going to do the season reset. How many people are going to get pissed because they don't know about the season reset or the
Yeah.
the ladder reset or whatever. So
Oh, I hate that system. PoE does it, and I'm not a fan of it in that game either because, dude, 3 months is just not enough time to sink your teeth into the game. Like, because you have to start over from level 1, and like re-level your character, and it fucking sucks. Like, you have to play so much, um, in order to maximize that. I don't know, to like get the most out of a season. Like, you just have to mainline the game, and that's all you fucking play. So it's just not enough time for me personally, but it works for these games. So I'm not the target audience, probably.
Yeah.
Interesting game I see on the list that came out this week. Rogue Legacy 2. I didn't know this was out. I love
Legacy
Rogue
2?
Legacy. Have you ever played Rogue Legacy?
I don't think so, no.
It's one of the earliest indie games from back in, well, not that early, I guess. The original came out in 2013, but it's one of the first, like, it's one of the games that actually got the roguelike boom started in the indie space. And it's a side-scrolling action game where you're like the inheritor of a family fortune, and you have to like go into a castle and infiltrate it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you die, you start over from the beginning, but you can use the money you made to upgrade subsequent generations of people in your family.
Okay.
Basically your character, essentially. But it was a really cool game. That was really fun. So second one's out. It's actually been in early access, I guess, since August of 2020, but I think it officially came out this week, it looks like. So yeah, check that one out if you guys played Rogue Legacy 1. All right. Well, Montrell, is there anything else you want to talk about before we go today?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right. Well, if you guys like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. If you'd like to talk to either of us on Twitter, you can do so. I forgot something. I'm gonna stop. I'm exiting the exiting the outro. I forgot. We got a question. I reminded myself when I was going through that. We got a question from that dude Montreal. I almost forgot it. Because he actually submitted this like I think 2 weeks ago, but I didn't answer it last week because you were not here. And we didn't see it in time for the episode 2 weeks ago. So let's go through this question real quick.
Okay.
So his question is, what are some games you wish you could experience again for the first time? And I actually love this question because when I was growing up, this was always a kind of a thing for me when I would experience like a really cool game and be like, man, you're never going to experience that again for the first time, that feeling of going through a game for the first time and really just being like enraptured by it, where you're like kind of obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of games come to mind for me, but I think the ones that popped into my head first were Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, both 3D platformers from the N64 era. And these games have their biggest impact when you first play them, the first time playing them, because you don't know all the solutions to the puzzles, and every subsequent playthrough of those games kind of has less and less of the magic that they originally did, because you're familiar with the game, some of the tricks and the way the game plays, and what the developers way of designing puzzles is. So even if you haven't played in a while, you're kind of familiar with all that, and it makes those other playthroughs just not hit as hard.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a game. Those were two games that came to mind for me. What about you?
For sure, the Mass Effect series. For sure.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! Oh my god,
yeah. Definitely want to play through that.
Yeah. Great pull.
Like, I remember, you know what's funny? I didn't even start with Mass Effect 1, so I started Mass Effect 2, which really makes me want to go back and just experience the whole thing from start to finish. I really wish I could experience that. And I actually got 3 games. Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3. I love both of them equally as far as like, so Fallout New Vegas is weird because I had to play that one again to understand it. So I actually don't want to play that one first.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say because it was really broken when I first played it. And then when they fixed everything, I played it again. I absolutely loved it. But Fallout 3, I was like enthralled in that game. I absolutely loved it from start to finish. I love the environment that I was in. That was my first introduction to Fallout, and then I went back and played Fallout 1 and 2, and Fallout Tactics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I love that world. And Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Ooh,
Uh,
yeah.
I was super into Sonic. I mean, I'm still super into Sonic, but seeing him go to that 3D landscape was just fucking insane to me.
Yeah.
And those games to me are just like kind of like timeless. Um, they're so good that people still say like, why don't Sega go back to those times? And you know what? I'm gonna throw a fourth one in there: Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
When you go to the second one, which is oddly enough now, people hate that generation. They hate Heart Gold, Soul Silver. The newer Pokemon fans hate that game for some reason.
God, why? Because it's good. It's actually good.
They said
Jesus.
something about the Pokemon being locked behind the in Johto, or like the newer Pokemon being locked in Johto, and they actually didn't like that you had to go back and fight the Johto bosses or gym leaders, which I think is just, or Kanto rather. They ain't like you had to go back and fight the Kanto gym leaders, which I think is just fucking insane. Maybe because they didn't have that nostalgia with it, or they didn't have the
brainwashed. These people are brainwashed, dude. Like, are
I
you
honestly,
kidding me?
I honestly think it's because they didn't play. Like for us, right? We played Kanto, and then we played Johto, and then we went back, and then we didn't even know that Johto was in, or Kanto was in there until they were like, "Hey, you can finally go back to Kanto now." And you're like, "What?" And we played Kanto, and we seen all the stuff that we did. You know, that land progressed, and no other Pokemon games ever done that since. And I think,
well, there was a time progression between the games too, and that, again, like you said, that's something we've never seen in a Pokemon game since.
Yeah, and I really don't think they understand the significance of that. And I'm pretty sure they'll feel different too if they were like, if they went from like black and white to like X and Y or something like that, and you went back to the land or whatever, you know.
Yeah, because dude, it was so cool. Like it made the world feel alive. You know.
Yes,
I think that's what they don't understand, is that like Pokemon games feel like a time capsule. You know, like every game is a time capsule within some. I don't know. Like they don't feel connected to each other in any way. You know, and that was the only time they've ever done that. And it was so cool to play through the gyms and see a lot of the same gym leaders from the first game. But then you get to the 8th gym and the gym leader is blue, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's that was so cool, you know? It felt like progression had happened in the world, you know?
When you go to Vermilion City and you see that building that they were building has been finished and everything, like,
yep.
I don't know. It was just, to experience that for the first time. I don't know. I wish I could experience that for the first time.
Oh, I haven't played through that game in a long time.
Yeah, those are like my 4 franchise. I don't know. I think I've named like 3 franchises, but those are my 3 franchises: Sonic Adventure franchise, Mass Effect series, and the Pokemon series. Oh, and Fallout. Yeah.
Zelda for me.
Which one?
Particularly Ocarina of Time. I have not played that game for a long time because the last time I played it, I fully completed it. I got every Golden Spatula. I got every heart piece. I got every secret thing. I did everything in the fucking game. I literally fully completed the game. So I have not played it for a long time as a result, because like I literally did it all, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But dude, if I could wipe my memory of that game, like the experience of playing through that game like that and doing all of it was just so fucking awesome. It was such a magical game. I like adore Ocarina of Time. I think it is the perfect Zelda game, you know. I think just everything about it is so, like, it all just fits together so perfectly, you know. There's no piece of that game that feels out of place, you know.
Yeah, no, it does. That is a good game for me to go back and like. Wow, Rune Legacy got a 9 from IGN. A Rogue Legacy. I'm sorry, Rogue Legacy got
it's really
a 9.
Good. People should check it out.
Rogue Legacy 2 rather. But yeah, I don't know. That is one game that I wish I can go back and play as well. It's a couple of them, man. Like,
There's some stories I wish I could re-experience, like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 would be
yeah,
awesome to wipe my
yeah.
brain of that one.
I had the
Um,
benefit of like playing that through the definitive edition and playing it
oh
like
yeah.
that. Like for me, it was like, you know what? Halo. I just looked at it and Halo
Oh yeah.
1.
Yeah.
First encountering the flood in a like a sci-fi game that you like. I don't know. People don't understand that when you encounter the flood in like Halo, you don't expect it. It comes out of left field. The game becomes
Dude.
like a shooter into a horror game just that quickly, and it's just
So
like,
yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
Keep going. I don't mean to
no,
cut you off.
it's just I don't know, something about that game.
Well, yeah, so I was gonna say I've never I don't think I've ever talked about my experience of that game on the show. Like I've mentioned that I co-opted it with my brother, but that
Mhm.
specific moment when you brought it up, I remember because we were co-oping the game and neither of us had ever played Halo 1, so we didn't know what happened in the game. And you know, you're playing it, you know, as you're playing it, like the early part of the game is pretty, you know, hooah, you know, you're kind of
Yeah.
like you're with the, you know, you're with the other humans and stuff, and you got the sergeant with you and shit. And you know, he's like giving you orders and stuff, and like it's a very like military-ish shooter. At least it feels that way in the early part of that game. And then yeah, you get to that flood section, man. And I remember me and my brother were playing that mission, dude. And you have this whole squad of guys with you, you know, like AI controlled soldiers and shit. And you go into this installation with the expectation that you're gonna fight a bunch of Covenant, you know, that it's gonna be a big fucking battle. And like from what I remember, there were no Covenant there at all, right? Like
You
it,
get there and they're already dead, and
yeah,
you're
they're
like,
all dead, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And that part of that level is not that short. Like you're going through that for 5 or 10 minutes, right? Where
exactly, yeah, yep.
you're finding bodies and shit, and there's no sign of what, you know, what actually did this. And then yeah, and then you're pretty deep into it, and you get. I think I remember the room. It was a room. It was a room with like two ramps on the side, right? And then there was like this kind of almost like valley in the middle of it, and it was a pretty big room. And then that's where the flood initially come out, I think. And yeah, and then like literally everybody fucking dies.
Well, you
You have to
remember
get out.
you remember before that because me and my brother did the same thing. We were I don't know if you what age you guys played it, but we were like young, like when the Halo first.
Teenage. I was a
Yeah, so
teenager.
probably
We were
when
both
like Halo
teenagers.
first came out or a little
Yeah.
bit after it. But we played it when it first came out, so we were still like teenagers as well. But I remember, yeah, that part. You remember when you find the helmet and then you replay the replay of the helmet of
Yes.
the Marine,
Yes. Yeah.
and me and him like, what the fuck? Like, so they're like doing tactics and stuff and like going through the installation and everything like that. And then they get attacked and it goes, goes black or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, me and my brother were just like, what the fuck? And then the thing I love about the flood levels, you play through almost the entire level going backwards, which is probably the
Yeah.
best way to backtrack in the
Yeah.
game because you're running the entire fucking time. And yeah, everything. And then once you're like going back through the levels, you can see like the Covenant fighting the flood and like losing and everything like that. Like it was just insane. Um, to
Yeah.
play. Like I don't know, a lot of people don't really understand. They think like Halo is like, which it is, like the multiplayer for 2 and was like fucking phenomenal and everything like that. It kind of changed the landscape of like online gaming, but like as far as console wise, but I don't know. Halo 1, as far as campaign wise, I've
It was
never had like,
special.
yeah, I never had another Halo capture that. A lot of people said like Halo 3 was that for them, and I understand it,
Nah.
but like Halo 1, man, like
Yeah.
yeah, just to play that again, like that flood thing was like very ballsy at the time to me. Um and it was just like it came cuz like we had to tell y'all the game cover art didn't give you anything.
Oh.
You also had
There
to
was no
understand.
hint of it at all, dude.
Yes,
From
this
what I
game came out like
remember.
what 2001 or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
YouTube wasn't a thing, so we didn't have YouTube to spoil us. I mean, you had game like forums and stuff like that, but like people weren't really doing that like that back then. So it just for this game to totally take that and be a surprise to you was just like crazy to me. And we just don't get that anymore because everything's spoiled nowadays. But like,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it was an error, and I'm pretty sure like a lot of people will feel the same way if they play like Final Fantasy VII and like that one girl dies and everything of that nature. But like for me, like yeah, and you know what? I'll add another game to it. Kingdom Hearts 2. For both
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts actually. One wasn't really like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, what are they doing with this game? It was 2 for me. Cause like one was really good, right? And then you're like, oh my god, Kingdom Hearts 2 is coming out. I finally got my hands on it. And then
Yeah.
that's opening song comes on. Fucking I think it's Sanctuary that comes on.
Yes.
Sanctuary comes on, and you're just like, yo, this is it for me. Like, I love this fucking
I'm
game.
gonna okay, same series. This one's a weird one to pull, but I'm actually gonna say Dream Drop.
Really? That's interesting.
Dude, I played through the whole series in 2017 in gear up for Kingdom Hearts 3, which didn't come out for like 2 more years. But yeah, dude, when I was playing through it, I played through the HD collection, and I had never played Dream Drop before that. I had bought it on the 3DS, and I played it for like I think an hour or an hour and a half, and dropped the game
Really? I was
because
enthralled in that game, man.
well, it was the early part of the game where you're playing a Sora, and
Mm.
Sora sucks. But dude, like I remember when I played through the HD collection, the further I got into that game, the more I was like, holy fuck, dude, I fucking love this game. Like I was so taken aback by how much I liked Dream Drop. Like because all I had ever heard was shit talking about it. Like
Mhm.
everybody hates Dream Drop, dude. Like that is one of the least liked Kingdom Hearts games out
Really?
there. Yeah,
I
man.
love
And
Dream Drop. That's insane to
I
me.
I was like, so I came into that with that in that headspace where it's like, oh, this is the shitty one, and it's like, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, dude, the gameplay in that game is like so fucking fun, bro. Like the I don't remember what they called it, but like
Dream Eaters.
the free flow
Oh, the free flow
mechanics,
mechanic. Yeah.
yeah, where you could like jump off walls and shit, dude. That shit was so awesome, dude. I
Slow
I
motion. I
loved
think it was
I
called slow motion.
I think you're right. Yeah, I love that mechanic, dude. Those mechanics, because like you were so mobile. It was insane how much mobility you had. It was more than you've ever had in a Kingdom Hearts game, dude.
Yeah.
Like it
You
was.
actually felt like you were playing the cutscenes, like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
Sora and them fight in the cutscenes. Yeah.
Well,
I
also
liked
the
it from the story.
verticality it allowed you to have too, with
Yeah.
like I would have full fights in the air, like never touch the ground. It was awesome. So yeah,
I I liked it obviously because of the combat, but like I liked it because of the story. To me, this is one of the
same.
darker stories for Kingdom Hearts, and no one really won. It was like a more so of like a turmoil. Riku and Sora fighting themselves throughout the entire thing because they're trying to become the Keyblade Masters, and then
Yeah, right.
for like Sora to fail at the end. I mean, spoiler alert, y'all. But like Sora to fail at the end. Uh,
Yeah. It was such a
I'm not.
subversion of expectations, though, because we're so used to Sora being the like goody
Yeah,
goody
and it was
Goku character. Yeah,
it set it up
yeah.
to where I'm like, wow, like they're really trying to build this character up, and I was super excited for 3. But yeah, and then Riku, like to see like his whole 180 happen in that game and his struggles and everything like that made me really respect him more as a character. Um, I don't
Well, and
know.
he became the hero in that game.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
honestly, I feel like Dream Drop is about Riku. Like I know Sora's in the game and you play him for half the game, but like he's not the important character in that game. I don't know. That was always my feeling on it. Like
Well, it set the precedent, like to me, storytelling wise, it set up Kingdom Hearts 3 to fail because that story
I
was so
know.
good. Like
Yeah.
it really focused on the characters, especially within Sora and Riku. Um, and then for 3 to happen and what happened with the character development in that game to just take
Well,
a back seat to
a
everything.
nosedive, just like
Yeah.
everything they did with Riku just didn't matter, in 3. That was why I was so disappointed in that game, because remember, like when him and Mickey were in the were trying to save Aqua or whatever, and they just like fail and Sora has to come save them. That was such
Yeah.
a like it was such a slap in the face to all that character development from Dream Drop, dude. It really was. Like I don't know. I don't want to rehash Kingdom Hearts 3, but yeah. Anyways, Dream Drop is a cool one. I don't know. That game has a really special place in my memory because I just didn't expect it to be as good as it was for not just gameplay, but to Montrell's point, the story was like actually kind of riveting in certain ways.
I remember playing it too, and I was removed from Kingdom Hearts for a couple years. And to hear like the Twilight Town theme again and everything like that,
well, there was some cool levels too. The Fantasia level, was fucking really cool, dude. Like I love that level. It was literally like there was no characters in it. It was just silent, but it was all music. You know, it was a really cool. That was a really cool concept. So I think they did some interesting things in that game. But all right. Well, actually, one more point to your point about Halo. I think that's the real answer to this question is if I can go back to a time where we didn't have YouTube and the internet and Twitter spoiling every game we play before we play them, and giving me way more information than I ever need. It is impossible to avoid, by the way. I know you can just easily, many of you just say, oh, well, don't go look for it. I don't,
it just pops up now.
Yeah, there's no way to avoid it, dude. Like I'd have to not look at anything video game related to avoid it. And I don't know. I'm not going to do that. So, but I'd love to go back to a time where, you buy a game and you have no idea what to expect, beyond some like screenshots you saw in a fucking magazine,
That's actually that's actually how I discovered Monster Hunter. Like on the back of the magazine. It was an ad on the Game Informer, and it was just like 4-player co-op. And I think it was fucking Rathalos like chasing one of the hunters in the magazine spread or whatever. And it was on the back. It was an ad on the back. It wasn't even in the Game Informer. It was an ad on the back of the Game Informer. I wish I still had that Game Informer. But I was just like, that looks cool. I didn't know anything about the game. I just saw that ad, and it was like a CGI ad. It wasn't even the gameplay. And I bought it, and I was just like, holy shit. At first, I fucking hated the game because I was like, I spent like, it was only $25 when I bought it. And they had one copy left in the fucking GameStop. And I bought it, and I fucking hated the game. And then I watched, they had like, and this is so stupid. They had like their E3 presentation in the actual game. In like the movies, I can watch all the like. Shit. So they had the E3 presentation, like not the actual presentation, but like what they showed or whatever, the demo they showed or whatever. And it showed like a very organized way to play Monster Hunter. And I was just like, wait, I can do all this shit? And then I went into the game and I because I was stuck at the Cutku, and I beat the Cutku, and I was like, holy fuck, I beat the Cutku. It took me like, I almost like fucking used all my time on hunter time. I was like low on fucking stamina. I had like the little bar of stamina left and everything was crazy. And then I just like, I got it. After that, I was like, holy fuck, I get this game. Like I fucking get this game. And ever since then,
we all had that experience with Monster Hunter. Every one of us. And I started with Monster Hunter 3. So the fact that I'm still here playing them to this day is actually kind of a marvel.
Yeah. Same. Like, I don't know. I just stuck with that franchise. I kind of wish I can play if any Monster Hunter I can play again for the first time. Probably be
4.
Iceborne. Oh, 4 too.
4 for me.
4 for you?
Because,
okay.
I guess let me explain real quick. So, I said I started with 3, right? I did. And we've both said this many times. Monster Hunter 3 is the worst one in the franchise. The underwater mechanics are horrible, and Monster Hunter 3.
Can't believe you stuck with that game.
I didn't stick with it that long. I played it. What felt like hundreds of hours was probably only like 50.
Okay.
But I got through to high rank, and I remember because I bought it on the 3DS, and that was originally where I played it, and then I got a Wii U and decided for whatever fucking reason to buy it on the Wii U as well, because remember they had it on both. And you could move your character between the two platforms.
Yep.
Which, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Holy shit, they've done that in the past, dude. Fuck you, Capcom. Are you fucking serious? I did didn't even realize that they did that with fucking 3, dude. And we can't get that in 2023 for a modern like Monster. Fucking god, fucking assholes, bro. Like they're so deliberate. Anyways, before I get sidetracked into a rage, yeah, so I played it on the Wii U and I got to high rank, and I remember the jump in difficulty was like I was so bad at Monster Hunter back then. I didn't know how to play. So I jumped into high rank and I remember fighting, I think it was like a Ludroth or something, like a Royal Ludroth. And dude, this thing fucked me up, dude. Like I got like 3 shot or 2 shot or something, and I was like, "Oh my god, what is happening? Why is this so hard?" And then I stopped. I didn't play anymore, like Monster Hunter 3, because the fucking underwater shit was horrible, dude.
Yeah.
Like fighting
I
Lagiacrus underwater was like one of the worst experiences imaginable. That thing is like
he
this
was definitely
lightning.
king of the sea. Like,
Yeah, this thing is lightning serpent that's like super fast, huge body, and can do these electrical charges along its entire body that hit you in an AoE. Like that was a miserable fight. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that game. So to go from that, and then Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate comes out, because I don't think 4
no,
came out
I
in the
want to
US.
say original 4 did, but maybe it didn't. I think 4U just came out.
Oh, I think you're right. I think it did. No. I think it did. I didn't play it because I think I was I don't know. I was like, it's whatever, Monster Hunter. And then 4 Ultimate came out, and I don't remember what got me to buy it, but I bought it. And dude, when I say that, that's when the bug really hit for Monster Hunter was Monster Hunter 4. Because
what monster was it when you played? It was like,
well, I don't know if it was a particular monster. It was the going from 3 to 4 is such a humongous jump in quality
yes,
that it was the overall experience. But I will say there's a fight in the game in the end. I want to say the end of high rank where you fight Kushala Daora, I think, in a fortress, and you have all these NPCs like shooting fucking bolts and shit at it, and stuff. It was actually fairly cinematic, weirdly enough, or at least my memory of it was. I don't remember if any of that shit actually happened in that fight or not. I might just be inserting it in there, but that fight was like super epic to me, and that was kind of the moment where I was like, all right, this franchise is fucking dope, man. So yeah, that game in general though was just like super awesome for me, man. I remember that game specifically too because that was the game, that was the time where I understood the Monster Hunter stuff, where it's like you fight one monster like 100 times for the gem drop, that meme. I got to experience that with Diablos because I was trying to make the Diablos armor, and I remember the gem just would not drop, dude. Like it just would not fucking drop, and I fought Diablos literally like 150 times before I got a gem to make the
and
full armor set.
And the older games were like very fucking brutal with their drops.
Well, not only that, but you remember the equipment system, the skill system was different. You didn't get a skill until you hit the threshold for it.
Yep.
So if you didn't have the full armor set, you wouldn't have the skills activated on it. So there was no point in putting the pieces on until you had all of it. So that was the issue with it not dropping for 150 hunts. Was like I really needed that one piece to finish the whole set so I could actually put the fucking armor on, so I was reluctant to continue because I was still using my shitty armor from like low rank or something, I think, at the time. And yeah, just dude, I remember days and days and days of me fighting the same Diablos in the same desert area over and over and over, and I got to the point where I could fuck that motherfucker in my sleep. Like I was like I wouldn't even get hit. Like it was so easy. Like I had gotten him down to the point where I was killing him in like 5 minutes. Like it was fucking. But man, that shit wouldn't drop. It wouldn't drop. And then when it finally did, I remember I just like threw my 3DS onto the fucking floor, in excitement. But yeah, man. Monster Hunter 4. I will say Iceborne, definitely a close second though, for sure. That was super fun experience as well. Surprise again, another surprise because I didn't love World that much.
Yeah, we both didn't love World that much.
So, but yeah, all right. Now, for real this time, let's close the show out Not gonna go through the whole rigmarole, but I'll start with the Twitter handles. If you guys want to talk to us on Twitter, send us a question like that dude did. Thank you for sending your question in. You can hit Montrell at iTrap for the Hokage. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thundernut01, and the show is at the Players Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so at the Players Take, on Twitter, or send us an email to the Players Take 01 at gmail.com. And that is going to be it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week. Bye.